Let's go! Привет, Палмер! Let's go, Krusty!
Ожидания, выше крыш, отжимания. Помню, ты вставай на лыжи. Время дышит, иногда засуха. Иногда со всех сторон летит запасы за пазухой. Похуй тренды, съемки аренды. Пилю тендеры, наборы джентльмены. Кебаб, хумус, репертуар чист для баб ура. Лишь бы усадить ее анус, то туру шире улыбку. Тем шире раздвинут ноги, чем чище наличка, тем больше налоги. И лестницы коридор с упорным опорным. Осталось прошлое, 23 под подошвой. Изжоги ножки, ложные выводы, сложные щи, там где не светят выгоды. Петли кредиторы, свары и споры. Доставить надо, но не положили приборы. Хоккей мы за плечом, шутеры скоро. Акин, свин, щегол, красный, черный. И не расслабляйся даже, когда долго время. Тем более, когда долго время. По жопе время, сделан в Китае. Продан за рубль, не идет на канале. Селедка под шубой.
We're playing this one twice because it's that fucking good.
Yeah, back off on the beach, my money back off in the streets. I'm going platinum on the cheap, I got attracted to a freak. I be passing on a lease, contract to bring the D. Bring me flowers in the keys, I'ma grab them when I leave. It get spooky with your bro, they be roofy in the hoes. That ain't a rich nigga, that's a goofy with some clothes. Hey bro, ain't enough chrome hearts to make you valid. It ain't enough Louis Vuitton to give them talent. My leather comes straight from Milan for some Italian. My steak comes straight from the farm into my houses. Back off in the dungeon where they packing and they punch. Yeah, traffic in abundance, if them bastards get the fun. You see me macking in the function, don't react to no assumption. I swear we didn't know your girl, we be laughing at your woman.
Yo, look, it's the SEAF2OD. Mr. Two-Seater tryna squeeze 3 in the seat. Gotta make it real hard to compete, but then again I tend to win, and that's just waking out of my sleep. Started counting dollars, got tired of the sheep. When a circle pop, collar, lot of clique with a drink. 16s get them out of their seat.
Good.
Shit sore versus pit bull. Niggas know I'm out of the league. I'ma shine when it's wartime, who want it with us? Big rims, tinted bins when the trucks pull up. Ciroc shot inside of my cup. Fly shit, keep a bubble goose on while surrounded by a few ducks. Birds of a feather flock together. Getting real cheese, Parmesan over mozzarella. Legendary, I can stop whenever. This verse is so hot, 97 Rockefeller. Hands work, I drop a fella, but keep it cool though. Smile on my face cause it's too low. Too low, too low, too low.
Too low, too low, too low, too low, too low. Welcome in chat, welcome in chat, welcome in chat. Before we begin, thank you Krusty Pickles, my favorite type of pickle. Thank you Palmer, thank you Toasty, and thank you Markin for sending me your mandatory $6 a month. Thank you very, very much, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, and welcome yet again. Yes, apparently, my good friend, dear friend of the show, a man who's back, I will always have unless he eats a literal baby, Mike from EA, apparently was bad. You know when I found out? Literally 1 hour ago, okay? Literally 1 hour ago. I'm talking to my prime police officer here, who's also a prime police officer over in Mike's chat, Toasty Android, right? And she's like, what the helly? Do you want me to tell you why Mike got banned or something? And I'm like, what the fuck? Mike got banned. I was completely offline for the last 2 days, but like terminally offline. Okay, I thought Hugo was more terminally online. No, I am the only person on this entire platform who actually regularly touches grass. Okay, I would unironically probably have 100,000 subscribers if I was not this terminally offline. Jokes aside, thank you, Adrian, for starting off today's day so well. Thank you very much for the 10 gifties. Thank you, Dysfunctional. Lepotane, I love you so much and keep on streaming. Thank you for opening my eyes. Also, dumb question, would you make content in Serbian? Much love, Habibi. Absolutely. Serbo-Croatian, everything. Yeah, I would. We'll add subtitles, translations to it. There's new ways that could potentially be done one day. I just want to make it ethical. But yeah, jokes aside, welcome in everyone. What was I saying? Yeah. Toasty tells me, what the fuck? This is such an ironic picture, by the way, on the screen. I'm going to keep it. This is very big in the Russian-speaking world, like posting a wolf and then giving a very cringe, middle-aged white dude advice. In big bold text right next to it. Shit like, a wolf might not be a lion, but have you ever seen a wolf in a circus? Padum. Fake deep shit. Very fake deep shit. So, speaking of fake deep shit, apparently something happened to my dear friend, banned for the next 7 days. I found out today. People sometimes say stupid shit that they don't mean, especially people that spend so much fucking time on the internet, on the fucking daily. If somebody wants to organize a concerted effort in order to potentially get them deplatformed because they don't agree with their political leanings, they're going to find dirt on absolutely anyone, right? They're going to find something that is relatively controversial in this or that matter. What is the most pathetic, though? It is the most pathetic when you see people from the same tent, people from the same group, trying to milk as much attention out of the situation as possible by piling on a very, very, in my opinion, obvious concerted smear effort by reactionaries here on Twitch. This kind of fire the picture, eh? I can't really confirm that it's 7 days. The only thing I can really say that it's a temporary ban. Yeah, I got Mike in the DMs. I texted Mike that I just found out, and then I'm open to be reached out at any time. He was like, let's talk real quick. I told him I'll talk after the stream. I asked him if he wants to come on, but apparently that would get me banned too, so we're not doing that. Thank you, Turning Boss. Thank you very much. I will defer to my dear friend Toasty here as your primary source of information on the Mike ban. All I want to say is, Mike Refugees, welcome in. Mike, we love you, bro. Stay in there, and we'll get out of this. No motherfucking worries. And to the people that show their fucking ass by immediately jumping on the bandwagon in order to get to grift it as hard as they can, remember who they are. And people who immediately jumped to protect you and to be on your side, also remember who they are. It is, it is true. Mike a weirdo, though. Maybe I'm a weirdo, too. Most of us are weirdos, okay? If all of our underwear was always on display, maybe we'd realize that nobody's perfect. And that's half of the fucking point. Anyways, let's get into today's episode, which is casual motherfucking Saturday. I'm going to be drinking with the boys, girls, and MBs. We're going to be watching some interesting shit. We're going to be pointing at the camera and being like, ha, 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 Chad, you're dumb as fuck. Get ready for yet another Yugopnik experience. It's going to be the same like all other Yugopnik experiences. And by that I mean exceptionally well crafted, exceptionally well argued, and brilliantly entertaining in a very cringe way. Let's start out immediately with Bill Burr going fucking crazy on all these motherfuckers. Afterwards, we're going to talk about some UK censorship. I thought about posting it, but I only posted it on my Discord. Check out my blast off meme on Discord. There you go. I'm immediately like, people should not, do weird shit on the internet. Hugo's blast off meme is a picture of Keir Starmer covered in jizz. Okay, I don't give a shit, dude. I am from Eastern Europe. Your rules do not apply to me. A picture of Keir Starmer covered in jizz with a caption, "You've left me no choice, bro." Okay? that is my blast off meme. Because it is hilarious. That is a hilarious fucking joke. And I'm going to post it. I don't give a flying fuck. Anyways, let's start out with, what should we even start out with? Let's start out actually with the Epstein coverage, okay? With the Epstein coverage, going to our friend Mr. R.M. Brown, that everybody should subscribe to. I need to introduce myself to R.M. Brown. Seems like a cool chap. But he's going to be like, why is this masked man from Twitch talking to me? God damn it, I'm a serious journalist. Very serious journalist. Okay. Anyways, let's start it out. Thank you to everybody that subbed, especially Adrian, you fucking G, single-handedly carrying my show for a while now, together with a couple of other beautiful Oilers. I am very proud of all my rich people in chat. Now let's get right into it and enjoy a nice fucking Saturday. Please shit on Kid Starver some more. It makes me feel even more at home here. Oh, we'll have a whole segment on Kid Starver. No worries, brother.
Excuse me, I was first in line before that guy. Why did he go first? Oh, hey,
Thank you, Comrade Internet.
guys. Hey, guys, sorry, I was just rehearsing for things in my things in my normal life. How are you, though? You good?
Whoa, sounds fun, man. All right.
That's great, man.
From the Free Press, this is Honestly, and I'm Barry Weiss.
Nice to meet you.
One of my sister's favorite icebreakers to ask at a dinner party, in addition to asking people's goal weight, is this. What's your favorite conspiracy theory?
Seems normal.
There's the idea, the classic, that the CIA killed JFK.
You do not do this in my part of the world. Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. You do not do this here. You do not do this here. Because you will immediately not have friends. Because you'll realize half these motherfuckers anti-Semitic as shit. Like half these motherfuckers fucking crazy anti-Semitic. So you don't ask this fucking question on a dinner table. Especially with some weird ass fucking uncles, you know?
That's what I talk about at dinner parties.
Fake, or 9/11 was an
Yeah,
incident.
go wait. What was that about? Why are they talking about go wait during dinner? Oh yeah, let's talk about calories while I'm consuming calories.
Oh, wait, 9/11 was an inside job? Hey, I'm Barry Weiss's sister. Thanks for inviting me. So what do you guys think? 9/11 inside or outside? What do you think? It's called an icebreaker, morons. Okay, great. This video
I mean, the plane did go inside of the building, but it all happened outside, especially the explosions.
came up for me recommended, so none of my business, not my fault. People give Barry Weiss a hard time, they give her a hard time.
Boom.
They say. But I listened to this whole 1 hour video, background style, Joe Rogan.
By the way, like that reminds me, the other night I'm out, before I got a little bit sicky or whatever, I'm out and I'm at this favorite pub of mine. Interesting enough, a Russian pub with a bunch of Ukrainians, and we drinking, and then like 15 British dudes appear, but they all look Australian because they all have like these massive fucking mustaches. So like, they're Australian. This could be interesting. They could be wild boys. So they could do something fucked up. No, it turns out all of them are British. So I immediately start cringing. But turns out most of them are teachers. So I was like, okay, relatively interesting. They're all very chill. They're not, the classic British tourist type that is like, oh, la 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 everywhere, blah blah blah. We're at the pub. The pub is starting to close down. So we're like, okay, let's go somewhere else. One of the Ukrainian dudes runs a bar. He's like, I'm gonna go back to my bar. He doesn't even invite them. I don't even notice that, honestly. He tells me, yo, come after you're done with your new friends. I get into interesting conversation with the new friends while they're still sober. So I'm like, fuck it, let me take all of them to my friend's bar. It's gonna make him some money. We're gonna have a grand old time. Everybody seems to be chill. Well, they were. I thought they were chill because of their aesthetic. I did something that I shouldn't do, as I tell you guys not to do. They looked edgy. So I guess they're gonna be chill. And they were all educators, mostly primary and high school teachers. So I thought they were gonna be chill. It was a group of 10 dudes that were doing their annual 7-day trip that they do together. And then we go to the bar, and obviously I'm buying them drinks at the bar is buying them drinks. My Ukrainian friend comes to me and he's like, why the fuck did you invite them? I'm like, I just brought you 15 people that are gonna make you money. And he's like, but they're fucking British, all my other clients are going to leave, which ended up happening to an extent because they become very loud, which, something my people sometimes do as well, so I cannot complain about that. But they all get buzzed, blah, 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 and then they start talking politics. And these are people that are educating your fucking 13-year-olds, your 14-year-olds. Every single one of them wanted to talk about the deep state, was Team Elon Musk versus Team Trump. Like right-wingers that feel betrayed by Trump, even though they're not even in the United States of America. The smoking room, the smoking room filled with 10 dudes, I think, had the IQ of 10 at some point. And my locals, the friends who were there, and the other nationalities and so on, were slowly being evaporated out of said smoking room, which is usually the funnest part of that bar because it has an inside smoking room where you can also order drinks, so you can smoke inside, etc., etc. TLDR, I was genuinely shocked. His conversation reminded me, conspiracies and so on. Pretty much all of the dudes were completely unhinged. And politically illiterate, which is something very ironic to be when you are trying to make kids literate, right? 10 heads, 1 brain cell, pretty much. There you go, a more normal way for me to say it. I hate that I use the word IQ because IQ is not a real thing, but it flows off my tongue. Thank you, Darkwing Cock. What an incredible name for the gift sub. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But yeah, that was my day after the Wednesday stream. That was my night after the Wednesday stream. I got intellectually gangbanged by 10 British people. Ugh. Bro, they all defend the Queen, bar a tiny minority, surf-brained country. Dude, I was wearing the same thing. I wear this thing all the time. It's very practical. I have multiple ones. And we were talking about stereotypical aesthetics, and I was talking to one guy with a very big mustache. I'm like, stereotypically, you look very, very Aussie. And then we started talking, stereotypically, you look like an intellectual. Stereotypically, you look like this. It was a whole conversation. I'm like, what do I look like? And they're like, well, we don't... we didn't ascribe anything to you because we were in a foreign country, but if you were back home, you would look like someone, selling baggies, etc., etc. And one guy immediately interrupts him, I swear to God, and says, nah, I wouldn't think that. And the other guy's like, why? And he's like, because he's white. And just the room goes quiet. Like my friends, we all look at each other like, oh my God, it's starting. They're showing their Westernness. TLDR, you wear this, looks like you're selling coke, but I'm too white because apparently only brown and black people sell cocaine in the UK, which is fucking hilarious, by the way. But okay. So we're like, okay, I brought the wrong people to the bar. Massive fuck up. I was like, how bad can 10 fucking primary and high school teachers be? How bad could they be? So yeah, can you imagine how they treat their students of color? Yeah, I don't even want to think about it. Yeah. Anyways, do black people not practice anti-blackness? For sure, of course. Of course, there's fucking racists here.
Rogan style. The Joe Rogan podcast listener approach to learning and listening to things by using 2% of your brain is what I did. And I found this absolutely fascinating. I find things fascinating.
Because the mask. Yeah, I was outside with the mask. I live with the mask now. The mask is me. You merely adopted the mask. I was born in it.
I find things fascinating because I have a childlike wonder to the world. But it's kind of interesting, this whole media crap with this Epstein stuff. Because it seems like there's a lot of people who don't want to talk about this, but they're like, oh, my audience really wants me to talk about this, so I'll do it.
Tell me, how do I do this?
Then, of course, there's the deep state, chemtrails, QAnon, the Illuminati,
crap.
reptilian overlords.
Yeah.
And then
Then there's the belief that
Generally speaking, Chinese people look Chinese.
Chinese.
You know,
it's really easy
Whoa. We don't do this kind of racial bias here, chat.
to joke about these theories and to
No,
dunk
it's
them.
not. No,
It's
hard.
much harder to reckon with the fact that many
Right.
Americans sincerely believe them.
I agree.
And the reason why is because of the fact that some conspiracy theories
theories.
turn out not to be
Not
theories.
to be theories.
They turn out to be true.
So yeah, man.
But not this one, because it involves our dear leader and president. So this one is not true. But have you heard about Obama and the conspiracy against Trump? That one is true. Pizza places, children underneath, they do sexual things to them. Epstein cared a lot about it up until yesterday. Now strange, weird conspiracy theory. Stop being strange and weird. We do not talk about that, okay? I love right wingers.
You know, I read a story about
I mean hate, but I love them the way I love looking at a monkey throwing shit at another monkey on Animal Planet. You know, in that regard, I'm like, look, it picked up shit. Oh my God, it's eating its own shit, right? That is how I look at them. Oh, you're dehumanizing conservatives. I'm not dehumanizing conservatives. They're dehumanizing themselves by being conservatives, okay?
the free press. This is a free press. They're all wacky, you know? They're crazy, you know what I mean? And like a week ago, I was like, I wonder what weird thing they're going to come up with for the Epstein thing. And all I could find at that time, like a week ago, was one article that was kind of I very much got the vibe it was a very nothing to see here kind of, you know? Oh, look into it if you want, but it was like that kind of thing. So, when I saw this video, I was so excited. I was straight up on the reel going like, okay, that's more than enough of that. When I saw this come up on my recommendations. But this one immediately,
Are you one of those in the left crowd? I'm one of those in the I don't like pedophiles crowd. On average, that makes you left wing. So yeah. I am a fascist. Am I allowed in this life? No, my friend, because pedophiles are not allowed in this life. Please ban the pedophile. What the fuck, man? I thought pedophiles don't say they're pedophiles out loud, dude. Holy shit. God, pedos no longer even hide it. It's crazy. They come up in lives and like, I am a pedophile. Am I allowed in this life? It's absolutely crazy. Have a horrible day. Mods, please do your thing. Thank you very much. What the fuck?
like red flags started going up when she's like, look at all these crazy conspiracy theories, look at all this crap, oh, there's a lizard man on the moon. People believe that. What the hell's going on with these doofuses? And that's the sort.
I'm joking them. Now, what am I supposed to be thinking now? What kind of a joke is that, bruv? Hi, I'm the worst. I am a Hakimist. Am I allowed? I have to ask Hakim. You must pay the Hakim tax.
Sort of lead in, she goes into this thing where it's like, where do we draw the line? When is speculation healthy and when does it go too far? And some of this Epstein stuff.
By the way, we're one beer in. It's Saturday. Catch up, children.
See,
wait, no, don't. What the fuck, you go? With water and tea and biscuits.
Appears to me to be going a little too far, that kind of thing. And it would be like, well, I would say that this podcast could be like a couple minutes long. It's an hour, but it could be a couple minutes long. Where it's just like, well, there's a lot of evidence for this one. Yeah, it's a lot of very public evidence. Yeah. So there we go. Wrap it up.
To help us understand why the Epstein conspiracy is so sticky.
I
And
need
why
help.
Conspiracy theories in general are so compelling to us.
Right.
And maybe
Well,
most importantly,
I would say
how
this
we
one's.
make better.
Whoa, jeez. Oh, beep, beep, beep. I better back up. I'm driving down a one-way street, it seems. Okay, give me a chance. Now I forgot what I was going to say yet again. Oh, right,
This lady be like, welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, to yet another episode of my political commentary essay thing. Today we will be talking about conspiracy theories. So, I want to talk about a thing that is very obviously not a conspiracy theory, but proven time and time again. So, why do people believe this conspiracy theory? Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and MBs. Today we're going to be talking about deserts. And as an example, here we have the Black Sea, a very commonly known desert. You might be looking at a lot of water there, but trust me, it is indeed a desert.
I don't think this one is exactly the same as lizard men or whatever the hell you were talking about. Oh, again, and this could have ended the podcast very early because there's an overwhelming amount of evidence. Okay? That's kind of the very clear dividing line. Have a good night. This is Barry Weiss, so she's smarter. I think she's smarter. So she's smarter than like some of these guys who will come out, like Charlie Kirk will just come out and say, I pooped my pants. Let's focus on that. It's less of that. Or like Tim Pool, who just comes out and he's like, press record. Tim, did you write anything down? No, just hit record. Check this out. This is like Lord of the Rings. And Trump's a hero.
First time I've actually clipped something. Ugh. Do we want a second leftist ban this week? What the fuck did you do to me? Dehumanizing conservatives. I'm not dehumanizing conservatives. They're dehumanizing themselves by being conservatives, okay? Oh, okay. This I stand behind. Oh, the tally count. I got the count for later for a hype train, baby. Yeah.
Hero for doing this. Back to you. Okay, Tim, but wait, we're going to publish that? She's a little smarter than all that. This is more like old school media approach, where the kind of setup for this is like, hey, look, there are real conspiracies. That's true. Hey, well, what did I do? Don't yell at me. Yeah. But when do they go too far? That's what we need to think about, I believe. That's a pretty sane, rational thing to say, but this might not be the case for that. I'm sure there's somebody on the internet who's like, Jeffrey Epstein was actually two little guys standing on the other.
I need everyone in this chat to clench their fist and then release it 5 times. I think it's Zeke Heiling 5 times. I think that's what our pet is trying to say. Or maybe, waving to someone.
Their shoulders.
Can I do it with oh my God.
Wore a coat or something, but most people are just like, hey, this guy was connected to a lot of people. Where are there strings that connect all the pins in this corkboard? This is one where most people are kind of like generally on the same page. So the setup to this is a little fishy. You know what I mean?
To help us understand why the Epstein conspiracy is so sticky and why
because it covered a lot of children in jizz. And everyone involved in it should quite literally be. That's why it's sticky. You fucking pedophile apologist fucking piece of shit.
Conspiracy theories in general are so compelling to us. And maybe most importantly, how we might better engage with those who believe them.
I've been engaging
is
with
one of my
badly.
favorite guests of all time,
Okay.
Ross Douthat.
Oh,
Ross is an opinion columnist at the New York Times.
I had some familiarity with those kind of conspiracy theories, but I had never become interested in them. And sadly, I've become interested in them. But I don't actually have some kind of belief about UFOs. I'm not committed to any kind of theory about what's going on.
You better figure it out, because Joe Rogan, I've heard, has been losing interest. He's become disillusioned with the whole UFO. Okay. Wait, I just wanted to point out the prominency here of the... Is it prominence? Sorry. Hey, shut up in the comments. I can already see them. The prominence of the maximum occupancy 20 sign right there. Ross really wanted to get that in there. He's trying to make sure he gets...
I am a man with an office. I am in an office. We can take another room. We can book a room. I work in an office. Means I'm a very serious guy because it's an office.
It's his deposit back here. Hey, it says 20. There's just one, me.
I want to get to Epstein in a minute.
You got 20
Before
seconds.
we get there, and obviously this is all related,
Okay.
but it seems to me right now,
Me too.
certainly as opposed to when we were growing up,
I like how his mic is unplugged. Wait, no, what? But it's got a little light. Maybe it has a USB thing. That's fucking hilarious, Chatter. Great spot. I hope it has a little USB thing. Because obviously it's plugged in to power. Okay, we're doing it. I don't give a shit. So, chat. Where the... It is time for us to go completely off topic and actually have fun, because that's what that's what a Saturday stream is about. I want you to find this exact model. What is this called? Shard? I just took a shard. Wait, I gotta copy this link. Wait, and send it to Toasty Android. You know what? Not Toasty Android, sorry. To Wow Mao. You know why? Because I'm working with Wow Mao on a thing. Okay, I'm sending you this. This should be all of them. I think. Okay, this is what I wake up in my chat this morning, chat. Bruh, can you send over the files you recorded again? I fucked up. Been working on the video while I'm at JRegs, and I fucking deleted your voiceover while clearing up storage, and CapCut just doesn't have it. Motherfucker, editing on CapCut. I should never clean my laptop, bruh. I pray on everything you still got it saved. You won't affect what I edited so far. All I need to do is click locate file and everything will be sorted again. Thank God I have like 2 terabytes of space. And I'm not deleted any of this. Fucking wow, man. Never change. I love you. But okay, we are looking. Shure SM7B. That's my chatters. Shure SM7B. Wait. Shure SM7B. You are fast as shit. Okay. SM7B. Okay, I have a gentleman here with it. And we can't see enough. We cannot see enough. Somebody locate a picture of the back of a Shure SM7B. Okay, here we have the weirdest cables I've ever seen in my life. It's different. It's not a Shure SM7B. It has this triple thing. And it says Shure on the side, not on the back. It says Shure on the back. MV7X. It's an MV7. Okay, Shure MV7. Okay, Shure MV7, that is correct. Shure MV7. Let's see. Shure MV7. Very good catch. Bravo. Somebody give example to unclear a gift sub for their great contribution. So output is this. Now find out, can we do output through the USB? Can we do output through the USB? Audio, like audio input for the laptop through the background. Details. I want to know, do you have to use... you're giving me a different one, chatter. Thank you, Barry. So, does this have to be plugged in order for you to record audio? Does this have to be plugged? Nope. Okay, so he's recording. Still, thank you for the help. Okay, I guess he is recording through the microphone. It's not just there for being pretty. And that is the end of going completely off topic for 10 minutes. A certified Yugopnik Twitch classic.
20. There's just one, me.
I want to get to Epstein in a minute.
You got 20
Before
seconds.
we get there, and obviously this is all related,
Okay.
But it seems to me right now,
Me too.
certainly as opposed to when we were growing up, like let's say 2020.
Otherwise, if I need to take a shit, I can't take a shit. I can't believe it. Somebody in the building. There you go. Wait. Time to go off topic again for 7 minutes. Somebody in my building, I kid you not, was making. Okay, are you ready for a classic Balkan conversation? Somebody in my building was making homemade alcohol in an apartment building. That is genuinely unhinged. You know how big the device is that you need to use to make wine or rakia or homemade vodka? So I have no idea how they kept it inside of an apartment. How do I know this? And what does that have to do with my toilet being clogged? With the toilet of the entire building being clogged? Because they threw out what we call gibra, which is everything you're not using for the creation of said alcohol. So this is a very thick fluid, mostly made up of the condom that holds the juice for a grape, okay? Somebody made some alcohol from a grape, most likely wine and rakia. And jebena ljuspa, ono. The shit that the fucking outer thing of the fucking of a fruit, mash, the skin, right? The skin, and the skin doesn't really degrade, so they poured probably like 100 liters worth of leftover juice that cannot be fermented and grape skin down the toilet, over 100 liters. And when all of that went through the toilet sink that they fucking flushed, these fucking animals, okay, it clogged up the main pipe that leads all the shit out of our building and into the sewage system. So now they turned off water to the whole building. Okay, I can only subside on beer. And they closed down the sewage system. And they need to do the following. They need to break open the pipe in the basement, which will make shit, piss, and wine and rakia leftover fly everywhere as two dudes with a trash truck stand there with a big hose and take all that shit, literally shit, out. That's the only way they can do this. Okay? They immediately told us, your building will smell like shit for at least 2 months. So, welcome to third world life, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs. I hope you're enjoying the view from your Berlin, Dubai, and New York skyscrapers. And all of this because of some unhinged motherfucker, some fucking stupid-ass unk that believed it would be a great idea to flush the leftovers of his moonshine down the motherfucking toilet. When I woke up this morning to the building's Viber group chat, I couldn't believe what I was reading. Wait, let me update you on what they're saying right now, just so you know. It's not me lying. Oh my God. There's a picture. Oh, I can't look at it. I can't look at it. Okay, I almost died. I actually almost vomited on stream. That would have been very bad. Anyways, that's what's happening over here. How's your morning? How's your day going, eh? How's your day going? Can you take a shit? Because I sure can't. Fucking hell. Anyways, cheers. Another reason to go to the bar later because they have a toilet. But yeah, anyways, pro tip. When you're making moonshine, don't throw the leftovers in your fucking toilet. Put it in bags, go outside, and put them in the fucking trash can like a normal civilized human being. Thank you.
25 years ago,
Right.
that the prevalence of conspiracy theories just feels much, much more widespread.
Yes.
And the,
Yes,
I
queen.
guess, the shamelessness of them
Whoa.
is pretty
What did
profound. So I
what did
watched
I do?
a
I
clip
didn't
the
do
other day. I don't
anything.
even know.
So yeah, again, I love when people say that.
Subscribe for $6 a month or free through Prime. You get to avoid advertising, and you get to contribute to me building a separate toilet just for myself because I can't trust these neighbors to not fuck up the entire sewage system of the whole building. So yes, support Hugo to build another toilet for himself, or buy a lot of diapers. I will need them. Thank you very much. I'm doing great after hearing you describe fruit skins as condoms. As a condom. Thank you, Barry Bowles. Thank you very much. I mean, if fruit skin is basically, I called fruit skin the condom of the juice that's inside. Thank you, Barry. I'm buying a toilet from this money.
That always makes me feel bad. I'm like, oh, where did I put that thing? Again, it's in your hand. Oh, so I'm an idiot. That's how I feel about that. But again, it's true. There are shameless, baseless conspiracy theories. This is one where I haven't seen too much of that. Maybe that's just me. I mean, one of the ones that she seems to be implying is like a shameless, baseless crap. Is that this guy might have been working on behalf or with some governments? That's not in the realm of evidencelessness, But that's what's fascinating about this video. It's like, okay, it seems like I kind of don't really want to talk about this, but my audience keeps bringing it up to the point of where avoidance is not an option. So, okay, conspiracy theories in general. What the hell is with that? And, also let me tack on this to that. In a way.
Extraordinary. And
Look on the bright side, at least it's getting fixed, because if you were in the U.S., that should be staying like that for months, if not years. Yeah, I mean, immediately people are coming, fixing it. Big props to that. See, you all get you buckets, then shit in them, then find whoever clogged the whole sewer, profit. Absolutely. That's one of the minuses of not living in a disgusting police state like the United States. What do I mean by this? We ain't snitches. So somebody fucked up the whole building, right? And if the neighbors find out, we will literally beat the living shit out of them. We will beat the living shit out of them. In Minecraft, of course. But nobody's calling the cops. We could very easily call the cops. The cops would ask to enter every apartment, then do some sort of CSI shit and find out who did that. We ain't doing that. Nobody calls the fucking cops in this fucking hood, okay? But one day, we will see a motherfucker carrying grapes up to his fucking apartment building, and there will be no questions asked, okay? There will be no questions asked. There will be no grapes eaten in this building, I think, for the next 5 years. Because anybody carrying a big bucket of grapes, dude, you're immediately on the fucking watch list.
Again, I agree. I think if you really delve into the details of the case and try and think about like what would be the incentives of Mossad to have their honeypot blackmail guy hanging out right with a former prime minister.
Okay.
I just think they had better
that would be a really bold.
tradecraft
It would
than
be
that.
a really bold kind of tradecraft.
I
It
just
would
think
be
the
like
people that are capable of carrying out the beeper operation have shown a level of tradecraft and sophistication that this guy doesn't have. But let's just take one step back and set up the Epstein.
Okay, yeah, interesting. So this is like, red flag number 2, 3.
Yeah, wait, is she making an argument that that the Israelis would run a pedophile ring much better than Epstein? I do not believe that the Zionists are involved in this pedophile ring because if Zionists ran a pedophile ring, they would never get caught. This lady's supposed to be on the side of the Israelis. What the fuck? Oh, she said it, not me. What the fuck?
8, 9, 100. People are talking about this all over online. People are all over American online talking about this. This is not new. This is a theory. Yeah, it's like a theory in the scientific sense, where like even they admit, none of my business. They even admit this in this interview where they're like, yeah, it's not too much of a leap that this guy had some government connections. Will that ever be confirmed? I would guess no. I don't know. But there definitely is, people have pointed out that there's evidence to that degree. And this is where Barry gets into the wacky zone, where she's like, it doesn't make any sense to me because of the exploding beepers thing. And I guess she's saying here, wow, they're really sophisticated. Wow, they can pull off these amazing things. I mean, if you look...
Israel has pedophile rings we have never caught. The fact that they're pedophile rings that have been exposed means that they're not controlled by Israel, because Israel would never allow their pedophile rings to be caught. What the fuck? How is this supposed to be a pro-Israeli talking point?
Look at any press other than the stupid free press crap. The reporting on that is not just like, wow, what an amazing accomplishment of spycraft or so. Definitely not. I would just Google that one. That's a scandal too. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. To her, that's where it gets wacky. To her, that's, wow, that's so cool kind of thing. No, it's not. I mean, really, if anything, if you read about that story, that would be evidence in the opposite direction, because it's crazy.
This guy doesn't have, but let's just take a one step back and set up the Epstein thing.
Okay.
I agree with you that there's if you were looking for a case where there is a tremendous amount of dark matter, I don't know if you could find any more than the story and the case of Jeffrey Epstein. So for those people that are unlike us.
Okay, hell yeah, I really like this part. Because look, hey, I'm not saying anything. Hey, I'm
pre-watch chat. What the fuck, chat? Pre-watch. What the fuck, man? I used to have respect for you, RM. What do you mean? I like this part. You watched this part already?
Not saying anything, not my fault. But I feel like this is like subtly misleading. Maybe not intentionally. What do I know? But they came up with this idea called dark matter. I think Ross, Maximum Occupancy 20 Ross, came up with this, where dark matter is the spaces in between the evidence, Oh, we got a little bit of evidence. What the hell? What connects all this crap? That's the idea that he came up with all by himself.
I'm Hitler's top guy.
Of dark matter. And what I think is kind of misleading about this, but very elegant, subtle, maybe not on purpose, is when she's like, you could not think of a better thing than this Epstein crap as an example of dark matter. Just stuff that we don't know, think, light matter. I know about the dark matter. Where there is, So, Oliver Stone made a film about it. There's more crap on this one. That's like the subtle implication I'm picking up here.
Why are conspiracy theories rising in this particular moment?
Right.
Or is it just that the internet gives us a sense that they're more...
No, we fucking loved them when they were like, Hillary Clinton is fucking drinking the blood of orphans inside of pizza stores. But now when it's directed against our god emperor, it's fucking problematic. We need to all of a sudden switch to being fucking college-educated intellectuals that do not allow this kind of hearsay into our ideological classrooms.
Prevalent, when actually they've always been really prevalent. That's the thing I'm really not sure about and trying to understand myself.
Me too.
I think it's
I did think this part was a little weird because they do actually talk about some of the evidence in this case. The actual piece of, not all of them, but some of them is fine. But then we keep coming back to this idea of just conspiracy theories in general. What the hell is with
really confused white guy? Of course, dark matter. All the life matter. Oh my God. That is funny. That is really funny. That is actually really, really funny. White people making everything about themselves, even like a physics conversation, like a scientist is explaining dark matter, and like a shaking white man in the classroom immediately raises his hand. But professor, what about white lives mattering? 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, bruv.
Them. And Barry Weiss goes into this thing about how, in times of distress,
I play in 5 seconds. Don't watch the ads, bro.
Technology.
It's 5 seconds. Oh my God, it's gonna play. Oh no, the ad is taking your child. Oh no, it's throwing it out the window. No.
Logical change, and people are, they're like, what the hell, In those kind of times, people get conspiratorial.
People get conspiratorially minded.
I mean, she's definitely better at talking about this than the goofballs. We look at PBD or whatever. I don't know, let's look at a chart or whatever. But it's still like not totally working, because it's like, yeah, that's true. In times of distress or in times of just like society's falling apart, people are uneducated or whatever the hell. Like it's definitely true for like racist conspiracy theories or just like completely stupid ones with no evidence that make no sense and all that.
Yeah, but those they don't talk about, of course.
This kind of crap. But this just seems like her trying to lump every conspiracy theory together, including this one, This is on you guys. What the hell is with all this crap? It kind of feels like that. When this is really one that does not apply, it does seem like most people are like, what is this evidence? We're seeing evidence, and we're also watching some kind of what looks like cover up or something. Then they're doing goofy, weird, like literal
Thank you, Barry, very much.
Conspiracies, not theories, where they like give people folders. They wander out with the folders. Like, most of this is just people looking at this saying, what the hell is this crap? But she really wants to lump it in with every which one.
Right.
Do you think the following theory would qualify as simple or Baroque?
Yes, I do.
Jeffrey Epstein was a highly charismatic con man.
Give that guy
a break. His business, such as it was getting compromising information on people and using that compromising relationship to extract money, favors, influence, and power from them. And he...
Yeah, obviously. What kind of a stupid fucking question is this? What the fuck? Sure, he was also into underage children. You can be both. You can both be a disgusting pedophile and understand just how taboo it is to be a disgusting pedophile. So you can make a whole business out of it, in which you organize a pimp ring, a underage prostitution ring, where you bring in famous, popular, wealthy, and political figures into your ring, supply them with underage prostitutes, and then record the whole thing. What kind of this is? What? Does the Pope shit on the bear in the woods? What?
Politically neutral in the sense that he was willing to build those kinds of relationships with everybody, as long as they had power and influence, whether they were in the fields of math, science.
But is she gonna use this as a gotcha? Like, maybe she manipulated Trump into what? Into what? Having sex with children? Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein's victims are the children, not the powerful men, and crazy enough, sometimes even women, that he ended up recording having sex with said children. Okay?
Politics.
Okay, this is kind of interesting. This is kind of
like, oh, guys, I was manipulated into fucking a minor. So will everyone forgive me now because Epstein manipulated me into doing this?
Interesting. And again, this is kind of like subtle kind of thing. Again, it's not Tim Pool, oh, look, my hat's off, or whatever the hell he does on that stupid channel. This is more subtle kind of stuff, seems more reasonable. And she goes on this thing where this guy Ross, 20 max capacity Ross, you know, she's like, oh, you wrote this thing somewhere? You know, on a notebook or something? You wrote this thing about how you can test a conspiracy theory. If you're getting a little crazy, if you're getting a little too crazy or not, you know. And one of the things is like, keep it simple, you know. And then she's like, so how about this? What if this guy was just like a catch me if you can style con artist? He's just like target these people. Hey, give me a car. And then they go, no, Jeffrey, you don't get a car for free. And then he goes, I blackmail you then. And they go, fine, give him the car. Yeah, I really think like none of these people want to talk about this. They're hoping this goes away, you know? Whether it's Tim Pool or Chuck Kirk or whoever the hell, Barry Weiss, whoever, they want this to stop. And that's what this, effectively, that's all this is, what she just said. What about this? You know, hey, you have this thing, this conspiracy theory checker. When am I getting a little squirrely in the noodle? When it gets too complicated, you know? So let's simple it down. This guy's just...
It's an impossible thing right-wingers to subscribe to because reactionary politics is always conspiratorial. Because it's anti-scientific and it's feelings-based and it's... we want to do this to this group of people because we believe that they are out to get us.
He's Leonardo DiCaprio. Catch me if you can, but way, way worse.
Way worse, man.
And I mean, like, Glenn Greenwald and a bunch of people have done videos about this where they're showing the, you know, high-level connections in governments and intelligence and all this crap. So you would first kind of just stop.
But okay, even if all of this is true, if all of this is a honeypot, the people that got caught in the honeypot are not innocent because the honeypot was children. Why do I need to explain this? The honeypot was children. You know? Somebody all of a sudden, you know, hits you up on the gram and it's a fake account and they're starting to, you know, talk you up. Then it gets all sexual and shit. That's weird. But when they're a kid, it's fucking hella weird. So fuck you.
Wonderful
as well.
Child soldier. I mean, subscriber.
He's a white hat now that only use kids to take down the deep state. I thought everyone knew. Also is innocent, so that's why she was moved. He was moved to a minimum security prison. Average right winger now. Absolutely, the Zin's left nut. That's their pitch, dude. That's their pitch.
That looking at that as evidence, you know, or you would just be like in your own version of dark matter, as they call it, where you're just like, this is what I think happened. I can't prove that, just like I can't prove the other thing beyond a reasonable doubt or whatever. So this is just the
Oh man, you know, we must forgive him for he was honeypotted into a zoophilia ring. And he fucked dogs, cats, and goats.
Wonderful, a new child soldier.
But bro, he still fucked dogs, cats, and goats. Or in this case, even worse, underage human beings. But I thought it was an adult. How was I supposed to know? It was 2 kids and 3 kids in a trench coat. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Cigar Full of Dynamite, for the 10 months. That's extremely, extremely, extremely kind of you.
Basically, she's saying this is the version I like better. This is just a con man, nothing to see here, I guess. Like, what's the point of this? Like, if we don't have like a smoking gun on either thing, then what the hell is the point of this? I mean, except to ignore some of the pieces of evidence that, like, what's the guy's stupid name? Glenn Greenwald has talked about, or whoever. It does sound like a version of, like, let's just have this go away. This guy was just a con artist. He's gone. Forget it. Doesn't it? That's kind of the vibe. That's kind of the vibe I get. I mean, you could even go the Tim Pool route with this one. We're going to kind of ignore some of the evidence we don't like, so how about this? He was a Lord of the Rings Marvel.
It's a conspiracy theory. It was a liberal-coded conspiracy theory. And just in the last 2 months, right, you've watched as Trump has behaved totally bizarrely.
Kind of weird.
Around the issue, you've watched this swing and become a zone of frantic, fevered speculation on the left, where
frantic
the idea
and
now
fevered?
is that this is Trump's Watergate. right? And that there is some, there is some secret here about Trump that is so, so dark and poisonous that he's willing to stonewall and betray his own followers in ways he hardly ever does in order to cover it up. It's been really interesting to watch, not that they're going in for the most fever.
Conservatives inventing a pretty smart, let's be honest, political tool of linking up well-known and well-accepted conspiracy theories with acting political figures in the opposition, and them now seeing that used against them and being like, holy shit, who would have expected this, bro?
Conspiracy theorizing, but a publication like The Bulwark, for instance, right, which is a sort of vehemently anti-Trump publication.
They better not be.
Was not giving the Epstein allegations like the time of day for most of the runtime of this scandal.
Right. That, by the way, is also true and also very, very cringe. That is unironically true. Like, libs stayed away from talking about Epstein because they were like, oh, this is this quasi-intellectual thing that only communists dabble in, that want to make us think that all billionaires are pedophiles, right? And now, because they can direct it at Trump, they're using it. That's a decent argument to make. Like, these people do not care about children being fucking essayed. They care about scoring political points against Orange Man. That is also correct. Let's not lie to ourselves. That is absolutely correct. But using that argument as a way to explain away the fact that the current president of the world's most powerful country is deeply linked to the world's most famous pedophile is fucking wild.
It suddenly switched into like full coverage mode, right? And it's like, Bill Kristol.
That's because it's politically terrible for Trump.
Because it's politically terrible for Trump, but there also is this newfound...
Yeah, now it's getting real weird, man. Now it's getting real weird because everything's like, let's be careful and kind of subtle, But this seems to be implying like, look, this is a little political, man. These people just don't like this president. These people just don't like this president, man. I think that's a large part of it. And then he's like, oh, now it's all this frantic crap. Frantic? I mean, there is frantic crap going on, like on Tim Pool's channel, who I keep watching, despite that I would like to maintain some sanity. And really, honestly, it's like people who are not right-wing kooks who were really following this from the beginning, like TrueAnon really blew up. But it's like, what the hell is the Bulwark, by the way? Some kind of crap or something? What is that thing? Some kind of a crap or something? Whatever that crap is, like, yeah, probably more people are going to talk about it when you're like, oh, here's some folders, and people are wandering around with folders, and then they say, oh, no, there is nothing. And then you have all these weirdos, like Charlie Kirk says, let's not talk about this anymore. Like, if you got that much weird stuff going on, yeah, probably people don't talk about it a lot are gonna see that. But I love the subtle implication here. People are going a little crazy, going a little squirrely about this, man. A little frantic and fever dreamed about this. The Free Press is hilarious. The Free Press should be called the nothing to see here. Please move on, business as usual press. Let's check the comments right quick. What is this rancid guy? I right here say. He goes, is Ross broadcasting from a Holiday Inn Express conference room? Hey, stick to the relevant crap, man. Well, there we go, guys. Another example of my YouTube feed recommendations being absolutely destroyed with crap like this. But anyway, I got news. I just got an incoming news that it's Friday. Sorry, I blew it. Wednesday. Oh man, I really blew that one. What a letdown that one was. Sorry about that. We're in the dark matter of days. Wednesday. Who even are you?
Well, what is this?
When another leftist male content creator gets exposed as a sex pest, everyone's making jokes about how this happens all the time. 35
minutes, that's
but
crazy.
But they're not wrong. It does seem to happen like every couple months that a prominent person over and letting them rot.
Sorry.
In theory, rehabilitation of sex pest. And I guess with this video, I just wanted to talk about that. I want to talk about misogyny on the left. I wanted to talk about just like power dynamics of creators. This kind of feels like a comment.
Sloan, but I really think it's important to cover. Okay, we're doing this. Okay.
2 videos I made. One about
Mods adjust the goddamn title right now.
Online misogyny, and one about why
Also, y'all want to become mods? I need more cops. I need cops, okay? You want to become cops? We are hiring. It is open for hiring. And you have a link in chat, okay? The link in chat if you want to become my beautiful little piggies, okay? I pay you in JT feet and latex cat pins, okay?
So many content creators get outed as bad people. Now, in that video specifically, we are talking about people.
We don't support ACAB here on this stream. We support ACABM. You know what ACABM is? All cops are bastards except mods. ACABM. No, like this. ACABM. All cops are bastards except mods. All Yugo cops are based. There you go. Fresh Bison knows what's up.
Across the political spectrum, across loads of different content niches, and a lot of what these people did wasn't really related to them being like a sex pest. So you had Mr. Beast treating his workers like absolute crap, among other things. The worst things he did were related really to how he runs his business. People like Asmongold who've just said the most terrible shit imaginable. Like, you get the picture. Like, these people have all said and done.
All of these people can also be sex pests. Just on the right, being a sex pest is not considered like a bad thing. So nobody snitches really, or nobody comes out with whatever horrible experience they've had, because you expect it from a right winger. It's might makes right. It's if I can fuck you, I will. Sometimes very literally. You know, I'm calling right wingers rapists. Okay, right wingers believe in rape. Thank you, for the 16 months beyond based. Thank you very much.
Things that are bad, but why it's different in like left wing spaces is, of course, we are meant to be left wing. Left wing people believe in equality. They're meant to be feminist, anti-capitalist, socialist, believe in the good of all humanity. And then
and also be like a little bit like not that fucking weird and shit, you know? It doesn't even have to be that deep. Like, it's not weird. Thank you, Democracy, for the 6 months, man. That's fucking beyond kind. Thank you very much. And thank you for the gift as well. Woo-wee-wah. Thank you very much.
You get loads of men who are prominent in this space using that power to do a variety of things, mainly regarding their treatment of women and the LGBT community in the pursuit of sexual conquest. Now, the thing is, I'm going to drop some names in this video, and of course, some people have faced like very terrible allegations which are like heinous and illegal, including things like sexual assault, and the scale of it isn't the same for everyone. But
and some of them were like completely 100% untrue. Like, remember Bede Penada being like a pedophile that has escaped to Argentina? What the fuck? Right? But nobody took those seriously because there was borderline no fucking evidence for it. The reason I'm bringing that up is we are not that like, what's the word? We're not as mob mentality as the right tends to depict us. I'm talking about the digital left here. A lot of like most people even go like, okay, what's the fucking evidence? Most people go, dude, okay, that sounds horrible, but evidence, please. You know, we are not the hyper sensitive, the victim's always right type of stereotype that is usually used against us. At least that's not really been my case, except for a few unhinged people that immediately want to jump on hate trains in order to get their own platforms hyped up in order to do some sort of fucking virtue signaling that makes them more truly left than the other left-winger, etc., etc. Most of what I see is people being like, okay, there's a particular accusation. Let's see if there's evidence for it. And only after it becomes pretty fucking obvious, people tend to start, quote-unquote, jumping ship. Thank you. What that move do, brother? Thank you very much for the sub.
What these people
always we absolutely always should
share is that they're supposedly male feminists, they're socialists who want equality for everyone, but still use their power in the left-wing community to help with sexual conquest or actually terribly abusing people. And I want to talk about maybe like why that is.
And that is an incredibly important topic, and Cavernacle is probably going to talk about it. The other thing I keep trying to push you guys towards is understanding that it's a red flag to defeat all red flags when somebody who is depicting themselves as a socialist or an anarchist with a relatively large platform utilizes that platform in order to get sexual favors or in order to, get laid inside of their own community. Why is that problematic? Horny is not problematic. Being a human fucking being is not problematic. What is problematic is the fact that you have built up a platform trying to agitate for, a better, more just world, etc., etc. The second you've built a platform based on that argument and you're using it as a power trip in order to get laid, it implies that you build up that platform not because you believe in the cause, but because you wanted to be a micro celebrity that gets to fuck around. So what does that tell you? That you were not in it for the cause from the get-go and therefore should not be taken seriously. That's just the additional to everything Cavernacle is saying. So if somebody's being horny on main, I'm saying that you should just no longer take them seriously, especially with their audience.
Is the hypocrisy and just generally how
using clout for sexual favor is weird. It's weird, but it also implies that you are not in it for the cause. You are in it for the power that pretending to be for the cause brings you. Get what I'm saying?
Being a leftist man doesn't mean shit when it comes to things like misogyny. And I was very open in my video about online misogyny about passive misogyny. So what we see with conservatives is often like very, very active misogyny, where they're not even trying to hide it. Actually, my last video was all about that. It was conservatives arguing, should they be monogamous so they can control women in one relationship, or should they have multiple relationships where they control multiple women? Fundamentally, conservatives aren't shy about saying they see women as property. But I think generally with leftist straight men and straight content creators, we're more impacted by things like passive misogyny. So a lot of our misogynistic tendencies or misogynistic coverage of reaction to things or misogyny that seeps into our actual content, it's not something we're even actively aware of. And I'll speak about that in a bit. But then you have the other angle of people who are active misogynists but use their leftist politics as a shield, and they are active misogynists in private, and that's obviously in how they regard sex workers, non-binary people, trans women, any man who's pursuing some sort of sexual conquest. So I just want to talk about all of this today, but let's first talk about the main focus of the video. That is a content creator called LOL Overruled. Now obviously I've been in this space a lot longer than most. I would say even though I started
We can use leftist cloud for free booze though, right? I'm literally only into this leftist stuff for free alcohol, 100%. That is allowed. That is allowed. Every socialist movement throughout history has always given free booze to its proud soldiers. So that's not grifting. That's just being a communist.
My YouTube channel in 2017. I'd say I've been in leftist spaces since 2018. So I've seen creators come and go. I've seen creators pop out of nowhere and then rise. This guy...
This is a shame because leftists can have access to sexual communities where it's easier to have sex, but I guess these people are into domination, not sex per se. Dude, it's all... I am Hugo, and let's imagine I'm single, right? And because I happen to be a communist, and because I happen to have a platform, I get to know a few people. Then I get to know them over months and months and months, and something starts clicking, and we end up having sex. If the sex was because two people who happen to have met because one of them had a platform end up having sex, it's perfectly normal and perfectly fine because it's two people that clicked. You know, the leftist content creators' job is a job just like anything else. It is very different when, as this character of Hugo or any other character that is doing progressive politics online, I, utilizing my platform and everything, start aggressively sexually pursuing people, I am using my platform in order to get laid. So it's not, let's imagine my name is Mike, okay? My IRL name is Mike. Let's say, Mike is wrong. My IRL name is John, right? If I get to know someone as Hugo, and then we, start dating or whatever, and the person in front of me gets to know John and ends up wanting to have sex with John, right? That is fine, or dating John or whatever. But if I'm constantly using the fucking Hugo thing in order to pressure someone into giving me nudes or going out with me or whatever, then it's fucking weird. Then it's weird as shit. And it shows that I'm in it for sexual favors and not because I fucking do this for the cause. That's it. You agree? Okay, you agree.
Became very prominent,
I don't think that's very complicated.
Quickly. I think he first became big on TikTok, and that was for videos on him being a public defender, I believe, and also just general politics. And then he became pretty big on Twitter as well. I remember him going viral and getting bigger for things like criticizing.
Yeah, I had him on the deprogram like twice.
Mr. Beast. And generally, he had a lot of connections in the online leftist space. You would have seen him collab with people like Ole and people like Hassan. I'd say the most exposure he got to like wider leftist audiences was consistently featuring on Hassan's stream, and they appeared to be friends. Now, I had actually seen people talking on social media about him being a creep for quite a while, but they were normally just talking amongst themselves in like comment sections when they were talking about like leftist men and stuff like that. There hadn't been like multiple allegations against this guy and ones that went into more detail. And as of the time of me recording this video, people were saying more stuff is going to come out, not just about him being in people's DMs and being like a general creep, and being a creep in person in that he keeps propositioning loads of women. He has sent videos of himself doing sex acts in people's DMs, and lots of people who don't want to talk about the explicit details have said he's also been creepy to them. And I saw Ole put out a video and she said she's hearing more stuff's going to come out about him actually being an abuser.
Not something that I was obviously privy to. I was completely oblivious to whatever the fuck was going on, and it's a betrayal of my trust. I don't know what else to say. Apparently, and I don't know the full details of what's going on, but I heard like bits and pieces about him like potentially being abusive, and I didn't know enough about what was going on, but it was enough for me to like, sever ties.
Sex pest doesn't seem, it feels insufficient. It feels woefully insufficient to describe not just like what people are talking about now and he's being publicly accused of, but like what I am hearing behind the scenes is the case. Like to echo some of what Hassan's sentiments were in the video that he was hearing about him being abusive. Similarly, that is what I'm hearing about, and that is what I anticipate that the public is going to start hearing about.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally lobbied him like crazy in order to get him on the deprogram because of his like lawyer perspective, especially with the Luigi episode. But previous to the Luigi episode, I got him on the deprogram for just talking about prisons and prison abolition, etc., etc. The only thing that I noticed, this is from behind the scenes, and I'll say it openly, is I'm trying to get someone on a podcast that has, on average, between 150 and 200,000 downloads. In 0.1, sometimes 0.01% of all podcasts everywhere when it comes to listenership. And the entire time I was pursuing something that was pretty much exclusively going to platform them, not me. Like I was talking to a fucking A-list celebrity, replies that come in 10 days late, rescheduling stuff, blah, blah, like okay, big swinging dick, I mean, whatever. That was the only red flag I ever noticed. And it was it was fucking weird. Because nobody does, not nobody. Some people do it. Some people are up their own ass. But it was like, okay, maybe they don't check their DMs as much. Maybe, a little bit less organized, which is understandable. But, then I look at the TikTok posting schedule, and it's pretty fucking organized and pretty fucking regular and pretty fucking consistent. So it was like, okay, doesn't have time for little old me and little old deprogram, which is fucking ironic because not to measure dicks, but you can't really compare a large TikTok following, which is 100 million times easier to create and foster than that of a podcast show. But whatever, I was like, okay, just a little bit egoistic, but not everyone's got to be perfect. But all I can say is that I never saw this coming. Not at all. I personally saw no red flags, which is, that's the fucked up thing about the fucking internet, isn't it? You never know what someone really is like. I might as well be a fucking crack dealer, and that's the main reason why I wear this mask. And I don't even live in Eastern Europe. I'm some sort of fucking German that LARPs a character. All very possible things. So all of you be be not like hypercritical and like always looking for red flags, etc., etc. Just be vigilant. Be vigilant. That's it.
More soon. I don't have much that I could say other than like, I am so fucking disgusted and disappointed and blown away.
But even if none of that stuff actually comes out, it's pretty clear this guy.
The main reason I'm mentioning that red flag is it lends itself to in this industry, if somebody's really really focusing hard on how big the platform is of the other person when it comes to potentially platforming them or going on their platform, it really does imply that they're in it more for the clout than for anything. You get my fucking point? I don't want to say too much. I feel awkward for even saying this. But I think you get my fucking thing. Because I'm making conclusions from personal experiences, which is not intellectually sound.
I was using his position of power and influence in the community for his sexual gratification. And it says so much about how he views himself, how he views non-binary people, trans women. And
what was this? On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. The internet, nobody knows you're a dog is an adage, an internet meme about internet anonymity, which began as a caption to a cartoon drawn by Peter Steiner, published in The New Yorker. The words are those of a large dog sitting on a chair at a desk with a paw on the keyboard of the computer, speaking to a smaller dog sitting on the floor nearby. Steiner had earned between $200,000 and $250,000 by 2013 from its reprinting, Jesus Christ, by which time it had become the cartoon most reproduced from The New Yorker. In 2023, the original was sold at an auction for $175,000. What the fuck? I'm in the wrong game, chat. Setting a record for the highest price ever paid for a comic. It's good commentary, and it's true. It's very true. And I'm not lost to the irony of me being radically anonymous, right? I'm not lost to that irony. Like, I can be on lists. And you guys won't know. Like, I can be on lists. I can be a fucking ex-con fucking rapist guy. That is not lost on me. But another thing that is not lost on me as well is that you guys would have probably picked up on that by now. You know, I think you would have picked up if I was weird on these particular issues. Which is, you know, sometimes a meme I like to throw around with Hakeem is like, not with JT because JT is already huge. It's like, dude, if we had controversies in the past or ever, pretty much, if we ever had a single controversy, we would be much bigger than we are right now. Suffering from my own normality is the curse of your Gopnik Twitch. Huge JT, toasty. I mean, his platform is literally second only to Hassan's. He was wanted by the Serbian government for crimes against humanity. It's he called them Turks. There's actually a very famous Serbian TikToker who was always posting from Asia. he was doing extremely niche jokes about just being a Balkan guy, right? He would do these like characters. It was very funny. And then it turned out that he was running away from the government, and that he even had an Interpol warrant on him. And everybody's like, oh my God, this guy must be a mass murdering piece of shit. And then it turns out, no, like cops came into his apartment while he was doing a very loud party in order to arrest everyone. And they walked in. He just had a bunch of plants, weed plants. Motherfucker was a pothead. A bunch of weed plants, which would classify him under local legislature as, making weed to sell. So the guy just got on a plane and went to fucking Thailand. Like, he was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. So it was when the story was dropping, it was like this, because at first people were like, oh, fuck this guy. He probably did something fucked up. And then it was like, oh, weed. And it went from fuck this guy to we fuck with this guy even more. Let's go, bro. So, you never know. Kim had controversies of being called a Stalinist by strange anarchist YouTube channels and some people in your Discord. Yeah, I'm talking about relevant people starting shit. Always carry healthy skepticism about escaping to Thailand. Okay, but isn't that also like doing the thing? Because very often I hear people like, when they hear a Westerner migrate to Balkans or Eastern Europe, they're immediately a sex pest, which is to an extent kind of sexist to like local women. Like they'll immediately like jump at a beautiful white Western man, etc., etc. And it also implies that, there's no other 500 good reasons why somebody would like to be an immigrant going to Thailand or an immigrant coming to Eastern Europe, etc., etc. I guess your point is completely well-intentioned, but I just find it immediately making it about them, going there in order to use their big money in order to get laid with the local poor women. As, I don't know. I think it doesn't happen. It happens. But to immediately have that opinion of someone, it's fucking, it's strange because it generalizes the whole country of, just a bunch of women that look good that will have sex with you because they're poor and you're not. You get my point.
And how he just viewed them as sex objects for him. And regardless of if this guy had a sex addiction, which apparently he wrote about and stuff, it doesn't excuse his behavior. I just don't see it as a defense. So it seems like Lowell overall tried to get ahead of everything. He was talking to people about having a mental breakdown and saying he was going to go away for a bit. But he did respond to the allegations after a lot of people came out and condemned him from the online community. And I just want to read it for you. And some people are saying, and I'm just...
Of course, to remove the sex cancer, you have to instill a true sense of feminism, a recognition that women are in fact equals, but to recognize that they are constantly being beaten down by the overwhelming pressure of patriarchy, sexism, and in the case of black women who have it worse, racism, that they wish to express themselves freely as men do, but can't without knowing that her being herself is going to be sexualized. Yes. Well written. Okay. No, it's not that women would jump on him for his qualities. It's about going to impoverished countries to leverage their economic position over women in poverty. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's the difference. Because I don't think all men that migrate to impoverished countries with stereotypically defined beautiful women just do it because they want to chase women, right? They just want to migrate to a warm or chill place or to a more affordable place than where they're at. Nothing wrong with that to an extent, right? But the cunts that go absolutely are pieces of shit. An actual not all men. Sorry if I don't know. I don't think this is... I stand by what I just said. I don't think it's controversial. Hell, I think it is generalizing all women in those particular countries by implying that the only reason, and those countries in general, that the only reason anybody would want to move there is in order to, quote unquote, get women.
I just want to talk about this as well. That in left-wing circles, we believe in rehabilitation. And if he's going to go do the work and he apologizes, then maybe one day he could be accepted back in the online space. I dispute that for multiple reasons. I don't think rehabilitation means you deserve to come back and have a massive social media platform amongst the left-wing audience. But let's talk about his statement. So he writes, "This is not my full apology, and it isn't meant to be.
Is Tabernacle good? Yeah, I think Tabernacle's fine.
Still need some time to figure out how to do that and what that looks like. There's a lot being said about my behavior. I am absolutely embarrassed and ashamed of myself in many instances and have been a real arsehole. I don't deny that at all." Okay, he's saying he's embarrassed, ashamed, arsehole. "I know many people are disappointed and I'm disappointed in myself. I've hurt people emotionally and I regret it immensely. But I do want to clarify some things. Yes, I slid into a lot of people's DMs. I think I didn't really think of it as a huge deal, but it's clear I did not fully grasp how some people could feel about..."
So here we're talking unsolicited sexual images, right? Tabernacle is a stallion. You'll never find anybody who's perfect, my friend. Oh. You have a mustache? I thought you had a baby face in my head. My friend, I have a hairier head, hairier face and everything than I think you can ever imagine. But yeah, like randomly sending somebody a picture of your genitals is insane. It's absolutely fucking insane.
That, or even think I was some kind of famous person, which I have never honestly felt about myself, and I always feel like a random internet side character. That's bullshit. No, I did not send photos unsolicited. It may have been the case in some instances that I genuinely misread the conversations we were having, but no, I didn't just randomly send something. No, I have not threatened anyone. I saw something to that effect being said. I do believe some of what's being said is genuinely libel and defamation. I'm not, however, interested in arguing with people or suing or anything like that. It's also entirely possible there was miscommunications and conversations misread, but I take full responsibility for making people uncomfortable. Again, this is not meant to be an exhaustive apology. It really isn't. I'm sorry to the people I've made uncomfortable or hurt emotionally. I know it doesn't matter to some of you now, but I'm glad this stuff is being talked about in a way. It's forcing me to actually look at myself hard in the mirror and do something about it. I'm going to be pretty offline for a bit, doing an intensive outpatient program. I don't know what will happen next. I may never come back to the internet in the same capacity again. I don't know. I want to do better and I genuinely want to make amends to the people I've impacted. I hope some people will give me the opportunity to do that. I do not expect it at all, but I'm always available to listen and talk if anyone wants to. I don't want to be a piece of shit guy. I have been. I think the way I've acted has not been in line with my character and does not reflect the man I want to be. I'm seeking help to better myself. I am sorry it took so long. Accountability is a weird thing. You can really only take accountability for yourself. If you want to pretend something isn't a problem, you can try and weather any storm that comes and pretend it isn't real. I don't want to be that way. In the very least, I would like to show what accountability looks like. Really cannot express how sorry I am to all. I'm just going to flag my problems with it. The bit about libel and defamation and suing people or not suing people, I think is just like emotionally manipulative. Are we meant to think you're some sort of good guy? Because, you know, we know you know the law and we know you are a lawyer, right? You're not going to sue people who are coming out with stories about you being a creep.
Tabernacle's missing, I think, the intention of what's being done there. The intention of what's being done there is I did bad things, but not as bad as you think, right? So, you know, you want the cake and you want to eat it too. You want to admit that you did something fucked up, but you want to dissuade people who still really fuck with your content and your persona, etc., from thinking that you did really bad stuff, which would dissuade them from continuing to watch you. It's moving the goalpost. That's what that is doing. As a professional PR guy, I can tell you, if I represented someone like this, I would not tell them to do this, but this is what they're doing. It's narcissistic. That didn't happen, and if it did, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, that's the pitch. Yeah, that's the pitch. That's the pitch. Though he kind of says it did happen, but they're blowing it out of proportion, which in your head sounds smart, but when there's so much evidence, at least so many witnesses, and then it's
Firstly, I don't know how you'd prove a lot of that is defamation, and most of the people who've come out strongly against you, seem to have quite a bit of evidence. So you're not noble for doing that. And I feel like this middle part of the statement just undermines everything he says. Like, sure, you're saying you can only be accountable to yourself.
I hope Tabernacle goes over the evidence.
But it seems like you aren't taking accountability. You acted shit.
I want to do, like, it's borderline disgusting. But I unironically, let's all of us do it. Let's do it. Let's be devil's advocate or whatever. And I'm sure Tabernacle is going to go over evidence. And so let's be devil advocate. Let's be not the stereotype they have over us or whatever the fuck. And be like, okay, let's see if there's enough to support this. Plot twisters. Devil's PR. What I was sent was a narcissist prayer. And so narcissists go through their own twisted stages of grief. I see it beautifully put.
Wonderful. A new
You're a
child
bitch.
soldier.
I'm a bitch. No, you're a bitch, Pandas. Thank you very much, Pandas. Which reminds me, Pandas keeps telling me, if you want to be a mod on my stream, you're very welcome to become so. Please spam the application form. We would have a grand time. You get access to my Pokemon chat, which is what I call my cops. It's a grandeur time. Thank you, Pandas.
You should admit it. You should go away. You shouldn't even talk about coming back online because no one gives a shit about that. And that's what I'm saying with the rehabilitation thing. Yes, in a socialist society, we believe in rehabilitation and not just like locking people up forever and letting them rot. In theory, rehabilitation doesn't mean you get everything you had back. Like, for example, if we're dealing with like an abusive husband or father or something and they've crossed the line, they've done something, and you want to rehabilitate them, it doesn't mean they have to come back and be in their children's lives or be a husband again. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yes, we want to rehabilitate people and bring you back into society. It doesn't mean you get everything you had before because you've affected people's lives, you've hurt people, and you have to admit that. And that is
also, like, listen, not everyone gets to be able to talk to hundreds of thousands of people. Not everyone gets to process complex Marxian analysis of this or that and then eat it up and then spit it out to his or her or their beautiful baby pigeons, okay? And when you are a representative of a movement with a very large platform and you're kind of a piece of shit, even if you are rehabilitated, you don't get to have the platform again, respectfully. At least not of the same size.
All on you, and taking accountability is not deflecting, not talking about how noble you are because you won't sue people for defamation over this, and also the characterization of his.
So this is not liberal moralism. It's not like herder, you're a bad person, so you don't get to do this. It's herder, how do I take your analysis of anything seriously when you did not apply it to your own life? I don't get to have like it doesn't even have to be sex pest shit. Like, imagine it comes out that I own a chain of bakeries where I employ 30 people and they're all working minimum wage. Hell no, they're even not getting at middle wage. I am a literal fucking capitalist. How the fuck am I supposed to sit and talk about communism on the internet to thousands of people if I have employees? What the fuck? Same thing. How are you supposed to have thousands of people that listen to you about social justice when you're sending pictures of your hog randomly to people on the internet? It's wild. Clip that. Champagne socialist go from. I'm 100% a champagne socialist. If I can buy, my dream is to go and buy Hassan's house, but do so through my own motherfucking labor. And if other people's labor is involved, the profit is shared in a socialist manner. Absolutely. No, I don't give a shit. Yeah, dude. Socialism is not motherfucking poverty. Okay? And I still live in fucking capitalism. Oh, I don't give a fucking shit. But I'm going to not exploit other people's labor in order to get to that point. That's my point. And I'm not going to sit here and make literally 1/3 of all of my videos are literally feminist videos doing particular analysis of masculinity. Sit here, make that shit, get like 500,000 or 1 million views and that shit, and then on my Discord talking up fucking 19-year-old girls. What the fuck? No. I know what hypocrisy means, and I ain't doing no fucking hypocrisy.
Conversations saying like, I didn't really understand what kind of conversation we were having. It's so clear he was pushing the boundaries in so many of these exchanges that it's wild that he's even framing it like this. So it's probably surprising no one. He deleted this.
In LA, of course I'm not buying a house in LA. I would rather be castrated, hung by my feet, and then have my gut open like Mussolini, than live in the United States of America. It was an allegory. Also, I prefer apartments, and I already own my own apartment, of course, with a mortgage, but I own my own apartment. Thanks to cunts like you. Thanks to cunts like username for subscribing, right? But I also reinvest all my shit together with the Deprogram guys into new projects like First Thought. And if First Thought became more profitable, we would make another one because we would take a big chunk of that money and invest it into a new fucking thing. That's it.
Because it makes him look even worse. And also, I think
I have a 460 horsepower car. I don't lie about this shit. I don't hide this shit. It's a great, expensive vehicle because I like going very fast. Would I immediately give up that car if I could have socialism? Abso-fucking-lutely. Do I find myself in socialism? Absolutely fucking not. Will I do whatever the fuck I want with the cash that capitalism is stupid enough to throw my way as I agitate against it? Yes, I fucking will. But I ain't DMing no fucking kids or no fucking people with pictures of my you-know-what. And I'm not opening businesses. That's it. That's it.
Exposes some of the worst traits of leftist.
Is that what capitalism wants you to do? To be a brainless consumerist? Absolutely. But I'm also a product of this system. I also want taps on my back by, I don't know, my father figure or some shit. I don't live outside of it. Neither do you. Half of you are probably into fashion. Oh, you're a brainwashed consumerist. Half of you are into cars. Oh, you're brainwashed consumerist. Half of you buy shit for your apartment to make it nice, nice and elegant and pretty. All of you are brainwashed consumerists. That is correct. All of us are brainwashed consumerists. But the problem is with the system making us into brainwashed consumerists that we've already lived all of our lives in, against which we cannot de-ideologize. What? You become a troglodyte in a fucking cave that is dedicating their life to minimalism? Well, there you go. You've still made your whole life about commodities. Just not buying commodities. It's still about commodities. Everything is constantly about commodities. You can't get away with it because we live in a system where what you buy is what you are. There's no level of wisdom that can get you out of that conundrum. The only thing that you should reach is exactly what I'm talking about right now. Understanding that the fact that you just went out and bought something that you don't need, you basically just had a beer. You basically just had, you just puffed weed. You just had a line of Coke. Your consumerism is an addiction that you've been granted by existing, by being born into the system. You can't get away from it. But once you start treating it as the very real addiction, then it has less control over you. But you'll never be able to get away from it. But if you were to steal everything, is that still consumerism? No, that would be fucking impressive. We've got a Pink Panther over here. God bless.
Men in general, just the way they talk about these things, they know
And anybody pitching you modesty as some sort of virtue when it comes to commodity consumption in capitalism is doing capitalist propaganda on your fucking ass. Because it's telling you that you should be okay with having absolutely fucking nothing while your boss has absolutely fucking everything. That you are morally and ethically superior because you can afford less. It is the same pitch like, there's global warming, so use paper straws. It's capitalists pitching you poverty as wisdom, poverty as modesty, poverty as an elevated state of being. Fuck that shit.
Leftist men in general, just the way they talk about these things, they know, I wouldn't call it necessarily therapy speak. It kind of feels adjacent to that, and it feels very like weaponized and very much designed to try and get people to feel bad for him and forgive him. And to me, this strikes.
You're just thinking I ain't gonna be modest because Hugo would probably hit me in my head. Absolutely, I will knock you the fuck out in a very friendly, loving manner.
Me way too much as a guy who's thinking about how he can survive this and how he can come back. And what this was trying to do was set the stage.
This is, by the way, now like. I don't take myself seriously. The moment I start taking myself seriously, please stop subscribing to me. You see what I'm doing here? I'm manipulating you. I'm telling you guys to go get the bag because what does that mean for me? There you go. Like everything is capitalism. What does me telling you to get the bag mean for me? If you get the bag, you have more money. You subscribe more. You gift more. You oil me up more. It goes back again to the profit motivation. It's disgusting, but it is what it is. And I will gladly take said money, like the bits that just came in from Gabriel, and then refunnel it into talking shit against capitalism and potentially radicalizing 1 out of 1,000 of you. I don't give a fuck.
Crazy
I don't lose sleep over this. I do it with pride. There you go. Palmer, proving my point. 141 gift subs that this person gave me. Gets the point. Thank you, Palmer. Please don't hit me. You're monstrously huge. Never, Gabriel. Never. Pope open the champagne, baby.
This company.
Thank you, Polaris. Very kind of you.
Back. Set the stage where he can say, yeah, I've worked on this. And even him talking about people talking to him about this.
Okay, I'll put myself out there. I'm a degrowther. We might agree on a lot of things. We might disagree on a lot of things. And it's absolutely fine for you to be a degrowther. But you as an individual in your actions cannot contribute enough to degrowth without systemic change. If you drive a 700 horsepower fucking pickup truck from 2015 your entire life, and you eat an entire chicken absolutely every single day, but you end up contributing to a political movement that introduces policy changes or even potentially a revolution in your part of the world or your community, which then changes the way we do cars, the way we do meat consumption, the way we do energy production, etc., you will still have ended up contributing a lot more to degrowth than by just living a degrowth lifestyle. I'm pitching against lifestyleism, the very classic Marxist argument, right?
It's like who are accusing him. I'm assuming he's saying, yeah, it's wild. So I want to talk about some of this a bit more, but Ole put out a good video today where she spoke about it, and she knows him personally, right? Like a lot of us do not know him personally. You know Lowell Overruled, the character online. And one part of this I want to play you. I'll link it. It's on Twitter, so you might not have that. But she basically says that he knows better. And the sex addiction stuff is not an excuse. Like, he knows the power dynamic aspect. He knows all of this. So even the little part about, I never see myself as an E-celeb is laughable because I'm way smaller.
This is... I'm supposed to be like an unbiased party on the side, but... He literally fucking courted Hassan into making his platform blow the fuck up. Like, come on. The guy was on the grind from the fucking get-go. Let me check something. Let me check something. April 14th. Yeah, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. Thank you for the 5 gift subs. Thank you very much. Eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. It would be me extrapolating something out of chats. I'm not that guy. I'm never going to be that guy. But what I am saying is that there was always a very let's call it grind session. Not grifter, I'm just saying grind session vibe to Lolo because of my interactions with him trying to get him on the show. That's all.
Than him. I had way less followers than him, and I understand the power dynamics of a creator.
He was twice on the D program, absolutely.
And people who are fans of your content.
And based on what I knew about the guy, I very proudly had him on. I feel zero fucking shame about absolutely anything. How the fuck am I supposed to know anything? But you get my point.
So the fact that he can go on the biggest streamers platform multiple times, that everyone in that community knows who he is, and then
which he obviously got on because he lobbied that shit. And to an extent, you gotta lobby shit. I lobby shit. Like you gotta lobby shit in order to get access to certain halls of power, etc., etc. But there's lobbying shit by you do it once, you do it twice, you know. And there's another thing when you want to milk it. And there was red flags about milking, if you know what I mean. And no pun intended there.
No, he's friends with Hassan. And then act like no one knows who he is absolutely wild. And he does fucking know.
I'm blown away. And there's just no excuse for it. Because the reality is, Alex knows better. There's just no world. I see people floating around all these different like things, calling him like a sex addict and all these like different excuses and stuff that I'm like, I'm not sure where that's come from. It's like Alex and I are not best friends. Like, I don't
okay, even if you're a freak, no joke, I'll say it. Even if you're a sex freak, even if you're a sex addict, even if you go to fucking Berlin clubs and you're fucking sitting there in a toilet with 20 other dudes doing some crazy fucking shit. It should be John doing it, not the persona you've built and the platform that you've built. You get my fucking point? That's the issue. Okay? It is somebody utilizing their platform for doing, fucking, sex pest shit. That's why it's sex pest. It's not just a sexual guy. This is not just random John sliding into DMs. This is using your very large platform to slide into DMs. A completely different guy. And the reason I'm to extent not excusing it, because that has gone through the mind of 100% of all men. 100% of them, okay? All men that have a bigger following than, I don't know, fucking 10,000 people on Twitter. But guess what 99% of them don't do? They don't listen to the Gooner brain, okay? We all have the Gooner in here. But the difference between being a fucking freak and being normal is not acting on the Gooner head, okay? It's like, what the fuck? Are we monkeys? Like, I see boob. Boob big, I squeeze. What the fuck? No, we don't do that. We don't do that. Especially when we are fucking Marxists talking about a far more beautiful and more complex system of organizing society. That's why I'm not even saying there's no excuses. I'm just saying that it's not normal. It is not common.
Everything about the man, but I've known him I don't know the man to be a sex addict or any of these things. None of this has been presented to me, and I say that to say that feels deliberate, right? He's an attorney, he is a leftist, he's all these different things. He is cognizant of exactly why what he would be doing with the things
you,
that
Barry.
he's being accused of or what he has been doing is wrong. He knows, period, point blank, the end of it. He also knows what the consequences are.
Yes, but this brilliant lady, that she's not missing the point, but she's not saying the thing that I keep fucking repeating. That is exactly what's supposed to be a red flag. When you supposedly know all of this, and yet you do it, it implies two things. Either you did it in order to get hype and in order to get famous and then use your platform to get laid, or you never really understood anything that you were talking about. You never really believed. You never really internalized the ideology that you're pitching to other people. Right? Those are the two things. Like no more, like leaving all morality out of the conversation. Completely. Not even saying being a sex pest is bad. Even with that out the side, let's say we're gooner brained. As we're sex pest brained. Let's say we're all fucking freaks. We're all fucking unhinged pieces of shit here. Even under that pretext, this is not excusable because they used their platform that was supposed to give the leftist pitch to do all of this. So it's also treasonous to the ideology. It's treasonous to the movement. It is treasonous to the movement. And it is also ethically super fucked up. But again, even if we ignore the lack of ethics, it is also treasonous to the cause. Man, I should be a lawyer. There you go. I am the new people's lawyer. And the verdict is in. Oh, what's the verdict?
I'm Hitler's top guy.
He knows all these dynamics. There's nothing that he does not know. So there's just no excuses that could be made for him on that front. And as far as all this, and I can only come to the conclusion that he knows what he's doing because he's known who to show it to. I've never, in all my...
The famous guy identity overtook the progressive guy with a large platform identity. Freudian hours with Hugo. That's it. But the second that identity can take over the other identity, it means that the other identity was never strong enough in the first place.
Time, you never told me this. You ain't never told me you in all kind of gals DMs sending them this, and the next thing. I mean, maybe I'm a shitty friend that I was not reading the Substack to know that this was how he was giving it up. There's just no excuse for it. There's just no excuse for it.
So yeah, I just thought that was important as someone who knew him, just to kind of dispel the notion that like he was a sex addict who got in over his head or something like that. Now let's talk about the content creator.
But even if he was, you don't get to do it with the platform. That's why it's important to remove ourselves, no matter how difficult it is, from the moral argumentation. And even in cases as unhinged as this, look at it purely from a movement-building Marxian perspective. And even from that perspective, to repeat myself for the 500th time, for the last time, it is treasonous to the cause. Okay?
Angle. And let's talk about like the power dynamics. So we see this a lot with men, especially in this space, who use their platform for their own sexual gratification, and we have numerous people who've done that. But in terms of the content creator like dynamic, so regardless of what people like him say, every content creator knows there is a power dynamic they can exploit. And I've said this before, you know,
absolutely,
you can create an audience of people who will rabidly defend you and will be insanely invested in your life.
And people that slide into your fucking DMs like fucking freaks and shit. But you're not supposed to fucking reply. Like...
Now, before we actually elaborate on how that works, great examples.
Thank you, King Vadora. Thank you very much.
Of this, because people in Hassan's community who like Low Overruled would not believe the allegations, and some of them were crazily defending him. Like I saw this on Twitter, someone saying, "I'd like to apologise for the inappropriate way I reacted to the news regarding Lolo. I've developed a very unhealthy parasocial relationship with his content over the last 5 years, and I reacted very immaturely and with great suspicion towards the allegations. I'd like to apologise to anyone I made feel uncomfortable." Now, this person was basically in every thread, like, doubting the allegations. And this is obviously, like, a result of... of just content creators in general. You're going to have these crazed fans.
A lot of you who think that you are principled leftists are just parasocialists, okay? You are just like chronically online and you're going with whatever man that you're a fan of says. And you wait until, and I know, I'm going to call your asses out. I know that there were those of you who waited to hear Hassan condemn. And that was only then when you would condemn because you are not actually principled. You are a parasocialist who gets all of your opinions from your Twitch streamer. And I am not blaming Hassan here, but I am talking about the people who are
They're fucking tribal. They're fucking tribal. Okay, you can call it parasocialist. They're fucking tribal as fuck. Like, is this our guy? Okay. We just heard our guy murdered a child? I mean, was the child a fascist? Like, that type of shit. It's very common in every fucking environment, you know. Good analysis. I agree with it. It's just very common.
In these very narrow worlds.
It's not normal. I mean, define normal. It's fucking tribal as shit. It's like my guy heard her, your guy heard her. We immediately become defensive about our guy type shit. Yeah, pathetic online team sports shit. Exactly.
Where you don't listen to queer people, you don't listen to women.
That's why I accept with my boys Sakim and JT, but even not fully even with them, no matter how much I love them, I'm a team of fucking one. The D program, of course, is a team of fucking three, but I'm fucking one. I base my opinions off of I don't know, 3 pints of vodka and loud music while reading. No, I'm not even going to say it. I base it on my brain properly working through something. That's it. Which does not imply that I have some sort of superpower of objectivity. It just implies that I limit... how do I put this? It implies that I limit just how much of my ethical compass I base off of other people's hot takes, because I understand that my job to an extent is to develop those hot takes for other people. So if I base them off of other people's opinions, then I am just like copy-pasting someone else's work. It feels borderline like theft. 3 pints of vodka would end me, bro. I am a 1 liter vodka guy easy. But, oh fuck. Oh my God. My favorite part of every stream. One second. Ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, welcome to Ugopnik Hype Train Civil War Extravaganza. Who will we pitch against whom on this fine day, morning, or evening? Welcome to Ugopnik Civil War, where during the Hype Train, I call for a vote that defines the present, future, and past of all of Twitch. Whoever wins in this civil war is going to define what most of Twitch believes on a particular topic. So, chatters, please tell me what kind of an election you would like to see on this fine day indeed. And as the hype train continues, and as the subs roll in, we will see who stands tall and who lays in the dirty, rotten ground. It is Civil War time. Welcome, everyone. Pick your sides. Tops versus bottoms. Pepperoni pizza versus hamburger. No, we did too many burger ones. Twinks versus twonks. Furries versus non-furries. Hank, what the fuck? Vegans versus meat eaters. Gooners versus gamers. Beer versus vodka. Gooners versus gamers is good. But I've had it asked too many times at this point, and I have to do it, okay? I have to do it before the hype train actually expires. The battles begin. It is tops versus bottoms. Versus, what's the third one? Sorry, my straight ass. The switches. Okay. Welcome. The rules are the following. Every sub or gift sub is a singular vote. Today you will decide tops, bottoms, or verse. Verse, not switch. Sorry, your unk is an unk. Verse. The rules are the following. Every time you subscribe or gift a sub, you must tell me what side you are on, which would lead to that side receiving a single point for every single subscription. And we have Barry Balls starting out this great battle with 10 gift subs. Barry, who do you choose, my brother?
Crazy hamburger! Crazy hamburger!
Barry, goddammit, who do you choose, brother? Are you left or right? I am as left as it gets. Barry, goddammit, bottoms up! And we have the first members of this vote of our time. The bottoms are ahead of the tops and the verse. But Palmer comes in with a 10 and says switch. But wait, switch or verse? Okay, verse/switch. Am I doing some sort of erasure? Palmer, I've gotten myself into too much over my head. And Palmer walks in with a 10 for the verse versus switch. The tops tend to think they're on top. But right now, in this great battle of the horny, they are on the bottom. King Ghidorah comes in and says, no, the tops will prevail with 5. The tops for the first time entering this great battle say, we will not be forgotten. We will not be erased. We might be considered one of the most overrated positions, but we do truly know that our position is what makes it all work. Haha, that was funny. That was funny. And then we have Ruby Babes. Ruby Babes, who do you give your impressive 10 gift subs, your impressive 10 votes? They will make or break this game. Ruby Babes walks in. Ruby Babes. Who do we choose, Ruby Babes? Ruby Babes. Tell us, goddammit. What side are you on? Bot? Both? Both, which means verse/switch, right? Bot, what? Booty, what? What do you... Ruby Babes, help me out here! What the fucking side are you on? Ruby Babes, help me! Bottom. Ruby Babes walks in with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The bottoms are ironically on top. They look from atop the mountain on 2 categories which always consider them underlings. 2 categories which until today did not realize that the one who holds the true power is the one that plays at submission. But there is no submission in being a bottom. It is the truest power play of all, at least that is what this vote is implying. Will the tops and the verse/switches allow the bottoms to no longer sit at the bottom of the food chain? Your votes will tell us more. Your money will tell us more. Vote with your debit card and show us who is truly the dominating force. All puns intended. This one's freaky. This one's weird, I must admit. Choose as the hype train continues. We will go back to regularly scheduled broadcasts, and every time you vote, we will contribute to the great battle. Wait, I need to make it like a... Wait, let me do this. Okay, so now I add a browser. No, I add a Mac OS thing. Mac OS screen capture, and then vote, and then I do this, and then I do window capture, and then I do this, and then I tally count, and then I do this, and I put it in the... What the fuck? Why is it like that? Okay. Then I put it here in the bottom. like this. And I zoom out and I put it like this. Oh, yeah, that's fucking great. There we go. The hype train continues. The tops and the switches still have a chance to dominate. I can't believe that verse/switch isn't winning. It's actually kind of mind-blowing.
And you don't diversify your sources. And so when this shit happens, you are no different than the people on the right who you think you are superior to.
But there's also an element people don't talk about. They act like this is completely natural. And in some ways, this is always going to happen. But
Toasty Android comes right back in as we're covering a very serious conversation, interrupting me in the best of ways because that is what Twitch is all about. Says, tops for real? Tops get another 5. At this point, the bottoms are sitting on top of the hill in their king/queen throne, looking over the pathetic masses fighting each other for the second spot between the switches and the tops.
You don't diversify your sources. And so when this shit happens, you are no different than the people on the right who you think you are superior to.
But there's also an element people don't talk about. They act like this is completely natural. And in some ways, this is always going to happen. But people like Low Overruled, and he's not a unique example, they cultivate this audience because even the way he would tweet would be like, are you guys mad at me? Without the question mark. His annoying style of tweeting is why I unfollowed him or I muted him or whatever back in the day, because it was always just trying to get people to reply to his tweets in a way to like validate his own personal feelings. He had a private Twitter account, which I didn't even know about, where he was tweeting like more like sexually graphic things, just generally. He had a Substack, and I think he had paywalled articles in there as well. He had his TikTok, he had all these social media pages, and he was a guy who cultivated parasociality. And what that looks like is people being so invested in the community they're creating and making it so important to their daily lives. These aren't people often like Low Overruled, and I'd say streamers like Vosh and a couple others. They're not people who are like, I am going to put something out into the world. I'm going to create content, and that's going to like help educate people. It's going to help with the discourse. It's going to make something better. They're people who are primarily motivated by social standing and clout. Not saying they don't believe what they say, but you can see how...
There you go, Cavernacle, completely agree.
...certain content creators act. They really care. And content creators who often talk about everything, I'm always super suspicious of, because I'm like, why are you living your life so online? Like, why are you pursuing...
They're doing it for the payout, not just for the payout, but for the other benefits of being a micro-celebrity. That's the biggest argument against this whole thing, in my opinion. Because it's not just playing into a ethics argument, which is, very simple, very okay. Okay, you and everybody else believes this. But into the fact that the main reason why they got into this was power, and therefore they were a grifter, and therefore they are a traitor to the cause.
This validation so hard because I guess I come from it at the angle of I'm left wing. I want to put out my opinion. I want to educate people. I want to put out something that people will like. I'm not so much interested in becoming besties with everyone. And honestly, I really do not want a community of people who are like all obsessed with me and stuff. And I don't know if people notice, you might have. I've had a channel for ages. I really steer away from cultivating parasociality and seeking validation online as much as I can. Of course, I do that, but I don't want to get too personal with people. And
Potato walks in with another vote. What are we seeing here? What is going on here? Which side is Potato Enjoyer on? I'm guessing the emoji with a big Spider-Man ass implies bottoms. Implies bottoms, da. What is your vote, Potato Enjoyer? And one of the greatest contributors. One of the greatest contributors to our Civil War debacle, a king called Prince that always comes in and changes the situation at the last moment, comes in and almost anonymously says, I give 10 votes. But to whom? We now know that potato is for bottoms, which right now are truly, truly powerful. A king called prince. Tops, bottoms, or verse/switch. Who do you pick? Who do you pick? Xi Jinping, is that supposed to imply top? Top G, is that top? Is that implying top? What, are you gambling again, Alex? Yes, I am. You must tell us, the king called prince, what side do you stand on? Who do you support? Come on, a king called prince, you could change the whole thing. King called prince. Tops, bottoms, or verse. A king called prince is right now Googling what the fuck does any of this mean. And the king called prince, the king called prince off. Supporting the underdog comes in, it says tops. And as the tops rise and climb the mountain, they reach out, and right under the foot of the bottom, what do they see? They thought they were safe. They thought they conquered the world. And yet a king called prince, covered in blood and guts of those who call themselves verse, says, no longer shall we be undermined by the bottoms, who are our true underlings. Tops always on top. With only one vote behind them, the battle indeed continues. It was 11 subs. It was 11 subs. Oh shit. Okay. Same. There you go. That's why King Cold Prince did it. Like the biggest contrarian in chat in a good way. Okay, this is our score for now, and we continue. Thank you very much, chatters. Thank you very much, Oilers. Thank you very much, contributors to the battle of this era.
I do respond to DMs on Instagram mainly, and there's a few nice interactions I've had with people, and a few people who've been kept messaging me over the years since I was very small, who I really appreciate. But at the same time, I often ignore them. They go unread for months and months, because you have to balance your real life with your online life. And I feel like creators who have normal lives and don't really absolutely create these communities online centered around them are, in my opinion, less likely to be exposed for doing something bad. Because I think the common thing a lot of these leftist men share is a lot of them are just super online all the time, creating communities that center around them and their opinions.
And then they stop being an advocate for Marxism and and instead they become a micro celebrity who just does it for the sake of the clout, and everything goes to shit, as people like to say. Barry Balls walks in the last minute of today's vote. The last minute of today's vote. And Barry, who do you contribute to? Who does Barry give this vote to? Everybody is clutching their pearls. Bottoms up. Pushing them off the cliff. The bottoms say, no longer shall you rule over sexuality. We have always been the truly dominating force. We have always manipulated you into thinking you are the one who manipulates the relationship. You are the one who sits on top. No, the bottoms are the true future. The bottoms have taken it for themselves. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Holy shit. King Fedora wanted to steal the vote. Maybe, potentially. But they did not, because the vote came in after the hype train ended. We have a winner. We have the true tops. No longer those who LARP sexual dominance. No longer those who cannot make a decision. The bottoms have lifted themselves up by their bootstraps from a stereotype long thrown at their peoples. They are the one who holds the cane of power. They are the ones with the key to the house. They are the ones who are truly ahead. Congratulations to the bottoms. You have won today's Hype Train battle. Welcome to the halls of infamy. And to the tops and verses, great battle. But you suck. You lost. Okay. Thank you very much to all the Oilers. Thank you to everybody who's participated. Let us add this to our great list that is continuing. Okay. Last battle was insane. Okay. What hype train level was that? That was a level 9 hype train. So we have tops versus bottoms versus verse. Winner, bottoms. Haha. On top. Level 9 hype train. So, my beautiful chatters, let us re-explore the identity of both Twitch chat and of you up, not Twitch chat, but Twitch in general, which is what these battles define. So, bisexual, circumcised, hot dog lovers that put both ketchup and mayo on their fries, who do not like cats or dogs but prefer humans, who love Mao's China over the USSR, and who believe in a united American front against the dirty invading hordes from abroad, have now also said that they are true proud bottoms. So, bisexual, circumcised bottoms who love hot dogs, fries with ketchup and mayo, who want to live in Mao's China, don't want to have any pets, and believe in a united American front. Congratulations. You are now officially running the stream. And that puts our today's vote to a conclusion. Thank you to everyone who participated. That shit's always so fucking fun. So, let's continue.
And
Mao's China vote should not have won. Yeah, we're going to redo that one. We're going to redo that one for sure.
And really encouraging.
You go do like cyberpunk stuff. I love cyberpunk stuff.
The over focus on them personally. And
same, we got to do evil like landlords versus CEOs. That one would be, yeah, but then 0 votes because nobody wants either.
I guess oversharing in like private chats, and that could be on like private Discord servers as well. I feel like all of these things.
Thank you very much to the top contributors, for real. Thank you very much.
Make your audience go crazy or attract the worst type of people to your audiences, like this person here saying, I've had such an unhealthy parasocial relationship with his content for 4 to 5 years. Now,
damn, this is just Hugo running a marketing scam. He is profiting from us. Wait, what is happening? Oh, somehow that user got timed out. That's so crazy. That's so insane. How did that happen? I don't know.
That he's been outed as a sex pest. I have to go on a...
I'm fucking around. I'm timing them out, mods. I did it for the bit.
Rampage defending him from all allegations because I've tied up my personality so much in this guy who I think I know. And yes, that's a certain personality type. He's going to do that. But you have to create the environment for that person to get obsessed in the first place. And for as much as I have criticism for like video essayists, I do appreciate how they don't do this. Like, you just have your video essays, you put them out, you might have a little community, but it's not absolutely insane and centered around you like you're some sort of king. And especially for men, content creators who are men in this space, you know you have the power. You know you have the power to do this. and you know you have the power to exploit relationships with people for whatever means. Like, it could be financial, could be about getting sponsorships or better collaborations. And for a lot of men, they use their online leftist community as basically a place where they can pursue some sort of sexual conquest as well. And they see no issue with it, and they know more people will be receptive in this environment to them and their advances than if they were in the real world, and they can also take it to a greater extreme. Now, if you're someone, let's say, like Low Overruled, who also has some sort of sex addiction, you can see why he would absolutely capitalize on this power dynamic to be sliding into everyone's DMs who might like his content, way overstepping the boundaries. And if he has a sex addiction or whatever, I don't think it really matters, because I feel like it's way more calculating of, I am going to create this community like this and then do the thing. So I don't think it's like some sort of addiction which he cannot control. It might make him worse, but as we've seen with people who don't have these sorts of addictions, they do the exact same thing too. They overstep the boundaries of people.
No, even if it was a true addiction that they couldn't control, that renders them unable to do advocacy for the socialist cause on the internet. This is not taboo. Like, that's it. End of conversation.
In their community. And they also have the blanket of, well, if you say anything, everyone else likes me. So I can just say you're lying, it was a misunderstanding. You've seen the absolutely wild shit people will defend their favourite content creators for. And in the leftist space, obviously the biggest one was all that Vosh stuff with the horse folder. And legit, loads of people were saying I was anti-LGBT for saying he was a creep for having that. But that's what you can do with a weaponized audience. They can defend you no matter what. Now, let's talk more about the misogyny in like online leftist spaces. And I guess you could say a lot of what we spoke about already is misogynists capitalizing on these environments. Now, I've spoken to my sister about this a lot just because I've seen it firsthand. When she was like dating, when she was a bit younger, I said, men lie. Men lie about their politics. And I was saying to her this more in regard to, you're going to get men who say they're more liberal, but they're more conservative. And that happens all the time, of course. Men know, especially these days, that women tend to not like conservative guys. But not that I discussed this with her, but I think it is something we should talk about as well.
I mean, women just dislike men who consider them subhuman, which is what most conservative guys do. So it's very normal for them not to want to hear their partner consider them subhuman and not fully in control of their body, and so on. So it's, yeah. So of course, when somebody considers you subhuman but wants to date you, is not going to tell you openly that they think you're subhuman.
A lot of leftist men believe in things in theory. So they're not pretending to be leftists, a lot of them. Like, they are actually leftists in theory. They believe in these things in theory. They might constantly talk about patriarchy. They might talk about all of these like gender dynamics, gender norms, like liberating women. In theory, they believe in that. And I think as men, in terms of passive misogyny, yes, we can understand as systems like, yeah, patriarchy, capitalism, all this stuff that makes us act a certain way. We can understand that and analyze it. It's a lot harder to practice it when you grow up as a straight man and a straight white man in the UK or America, where the world is designed for you, so you don't actually even have to challenge your own prejudices. And I spoke about this pretty openly in my video about online misogyny. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not trying to depict myself as the like uber male feminist, because I'm not trying to do that. And a lot of people seem to think I'm doing that whenever I talk about these subjects. Is the thing with misogyny for men like us is you don't even realize it. And sometimes you feel yourself thinking something or reacting a certain way, and you have to take the time to think, why did I react that way? So here's a recent example for you. You guys know I love football, right? I'm pretty good at football. And I was watching the Women's Euros, and obviously, like, massive credit to the English women winning. It's actually good to see England win for once. And I was watching the penalty shootout, right? And a lot of the penalties were terrible. Like, they were just bad penalties. And, like, they were kicking it kind of like mid-level to the keepers, like left or right, easy saves. The last penalty taker, Chloe Kelly, just absolutely smashed it in. Great penalty. But I was thinking when I was watching that, I was thinking, I could take a better penalty than that. Like, of course I could. Like, I could take a better penalty. And then it's just like that impulsive reaction of like, well, if I was watching the English men do that, would I have that reaction? Would I be like, I can take a better penalty? If I was a woman, I would be in the England team. Like, that sort of ridiculous mindset. And then you step back and you think, that's so stupid that I think that. It's like those people who think they can, like, win a point against Serena Williams or some shit. It's not as bad as that, but it's kind of like, of course, if I was a woman, I would not be in the England team because I'm not that good. And also, I've not got the insane mental toughness that these women have to even play under pressure and stuff. I'm not even factoring into, like, a penalty shootout in a Euros final. Like, that's why the penalties are probably bad, because the pressure is absolutely insane. So it's just like that sort of reaction. And I say that to say that's like passive misogyny, because I grew up in a country that devalues women's football so much, and that's always in the conversation. And sadly, as someone who exists in a football community, and
yeah, men's football is just football. Women's football is women's football, right? We always add an ideological adjective to that which we don't consider the status quo normal. And it's absolutely unhinged that for 50% of the world's population, aka women, we have somehow grafted the conception that whatever they do or whatever they participate in, it's an alternative to the normal. Motherfucker, they're the other half of your fucking species, bruv. Reminder that sports started getting segregated when women started beating men's asses in some of them. Man.
England.
Soccer, I hardly know her. Yeah.
And plays a lot of football. It's really not uncommon to hear people talk badly about women's football. And even that I know, and I've made the argument that the reason the women's game in England isn't as, like, good technically as the men's game is because they don't have the funding that the men have, and they don't have the funding to create this insanely competitive environment to give you similar results to the men. Like, there's nothing about being a woman inherently that makes you worse at football. But again, that's the passive misogyny of my like instinctive reaction to this stuff, and that's why you just have to keep thinking about it in your brain.
TLDR, for those who do not understand this argument, if there was as much money in women's sports as there is in men's sports, there would be a lot more private football clubs that do women's sports, so there would be a lot more money involved. So that would directly, in the market economy we find ourselves in, motivate more young girls to fully dedicate their life to being very good at a particular sport, and therefore would elevate the expertise of the type of women playing said sports, because there would just be more competition of getting into some of the top teams, and therefore the championships where the top teams compete would be would have players that are picked from a much larger pool of people, of much larger pool of women, because more women would consider this a potential profession, full-time profession. TLDR.
And it's really hard to unpack that shit when you live in a society that doesn't challenge it. You exist in, like, very masculine communities. I've existed in the football community. I've played football my whole life, been in these environments where there is elements of toxic masculinity, misogyny, and all this stuff. And then who are the people really standing up to saying these things to even make men, like, have a second thought about these things? Of course we don't. Like, we live in a very socially conservative country in many ways when it comes to these things. So sometimes it's very hard to even realize your bias. And then, like myself and lots of leftist men, in theory, you're great. And you might even practice that to a large extent in the world. And I would say that's for most leftist men. You probably do that. But then that's that passive misogyny at the back of your mind where you'll let misogyny go. You'll let people say misogynistic things in front of you. You won't really practice what you preach. And in some ways, that's a result because you're a product of your own society. And like myself, you might exist in certain groups that are just completely male-dominated, so you don't even hear the counter-arguments. And I'm saying for most leftist, straight, white men like myself, that's like the baseline you grow up with. And then you have to actually challenge yourself. And how many leftist men will admit they've had misogynistic thoughts, like recently? How many?
Of course, Jesus Christ. No, 100%. What the fuck? Yeah. Duh.
Leftist men will talk about their own misogyny and how it's like a constant process of, like, questioning your own beliefs and interrogating your own beliefs. How many leftist men will do that? I wouldn't say many would do that. And I find a lot of leftist men who wouldn't ever say anything bad about themselves, they're perfect on anti-racism.
Or even about women in general. I find it absurd. I find it borderline misogynistic to... Okay, let me properly phrase this. A lot of leftist dudes, especially with platforms, think that that it is problematic for them to speak about groups of people that they ethnically or on a gender basis are not a part of. So TLDR, if you see someone like completely avoiding any conversations about, for example, misogyny or women, etc., they might be a little bit afraid of what they say out loud about that particular group, which would lead them to get to a larger or smaller extent deplatformed. TLDR of the TLDR, if motherfuckers, even pasty-ass, cis, straight, white dudes like myself, actively run in the opposite direction whenever race is mentioned or whenever gender is mentioned or whenever even gender identity is mentioned, etc., those motherfuckers be kind of afraid of, being left holding the bag in front of their audience because they might say something that is quote-unquote controversial. Well, dudes that talk about it all the time very openly genuinely think that they have relatively well-developed, for their own bias, of course, opinions on these particular things, and they openly talk about it, right? So there's the other side of the coin is what I'm trying to say, where dudes like run away from particular topics. That implies that usually they're, a bit iffy. I have bigoted thoughts sometimes, and I'm in a minority group. These thoughts are to be corrected, not hidden away. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. I personally, I'll say it openly, I personally, for example, struggle with sexualizing. I absolutely do. I absolutely do. And I've tried to work on it my entire life. And it's like when a woman happens to be conventionally, from my subjective perspective, a very, very attractive person, very often my first, not one, but my first 10 thoughts are going to hyper-focus on the fact that she is a very, very attractive person. But I try to make sure that my 11th thought, my 12th thought, my 750th thought, all the way from there, is just that person as a human being and my interaction with them, not the fact that they look a particular way. So this bias is in me, and I combat it every single time. Saying that I don't have this bias is erasing my my subjectivity and my things that I need to work on. Right? We still all hate the French, right? First thought and second thought jokes. Yeah, fucking hilarious. It's borderline become like a autocorrective disease to me. Like I see somebody that's hot, I'm like, hot! And then immediately the second thing is like, shut the fuck up. Like stop, putting this as the main attribute of how you see said person. It's not good, but I work on it. I don't fucking know.
Perfect on...
I'm learning my conditioning. Yeah, I'm trying.
Anti-misogyny. They're perfect on trans...
And I'm very proud to say that I've never fucking acted on that in my life. Absolutely ever. Absolutely ever. I'm talking about stuff that happens in this stupid gorilla, numbskull, Eastern European male brain of mine, right? The things click, but I immediately shut that down. I don't know.
Rights. They're perfect on Palestine. They would never say a bad thing about themselves. This is all just posturing for social media, and especially with left-wing male creators, something you have to remember, of course, there is an incentive to not talk bad about yourself. There's an incentive to not tell people you did X or Y. There's no incentive to say you haven't been perfect about something. So for a lot of these creators, they're never going to admit it in the first place, and they're never going to...
You've never acted on seeing a hot person wanting to hook up with them? Absolutely, I have. I'm saying outside of a romantic context, right? I'm meeting a rando, or I have a partner that, thank God, I absolutely never cheated on, etc., etc. But, I have fucking eyes. I'm not saying I don't have eyes. See somebody hot, I find them hot. I see the fact that they're hot, but immediately make sure that my first interaction with that person removes that particular bias. Which, when it comes to women, is I'm, fucking commodifying them as fuck, right? Because I wouldn't do that to a dude, I wouldn't treat a dude based on what he looks like, except on some other type of misogynistic, like power dynamic shit, like, etc., etc. To be honest, as a woman, men who at least try, who are trying, are way more favorable to me than men who don't even try. I'm glad to hear it. You should be, as somebody that's interacted with a lot of men, some of them very awful, you shouldn't be most scared of men who pretend that they don't need to try. Okay? Men that say that they de facto, they spawned into this video game of life without having a privileged male position and outlook. Because that's denying their privilege. That's denying their subjectivity informed by a very real patriarchal system that we find ourselves in. I mean, true, but trying too hard can also be a bad sign. Absolutely. Absolutely. When I talk about my trying, this is not me trying really fucking hard. It's a 3-second thing. With sexualization, the most important aspects are to pay attention. To pay attention is to whether done with consent and to whether the sexualized person is in charge of their own sexualization. 100%. Just want to say that attraction is a physiological phenomenon and has to be handled on that basis. It isn't an idea, so thinking about it is not totally constructive. To an extent, I agree.
Have that open discussion, and if we don't have that open discussion as straight, often white leftist men, then we're never going to get any better. Are we all just going to pretend that none of us are influenced by a misogynistic society and we're all just perfect? And when
guys, basically the only thing I'm fucking trying to say is that I find it to be fucking weird that there will always be an instinctual differentiator in my brain between a woman and a man, which I'm trying to combat because I happen to find women attractive, right? So I'm trying to, ironically, yes, desexualize every sort of interaction because I'm trying to balance it out as much as possible. And my interactions with people of every fucking background or whatever look, etc., on the basis of me interacting with a particular individual and not a particular member of said group. Trying to de-ideologize that aspect of interpersonal interaction. That's it.
Something comes out about someone.
I'm not running around fucking rubbing my hands, licking my lips, being like, oh, that's a hot woman right there. God damn it. Look at that hot woman. Blah, blah, blah. It's like an end stage thing, It's, that's it.
One low overall, we just pretend, oh yeah, that's just the one bad one. He's gone now, the one bad one. There's no misogyny that exists in this community at all. Of course there is, and there's different levels of it. I would say most men are probably way more passive.
And don't get and there you go. I'm not afraid of talking about how it goes on amongst women. What's the fucking word? Pretty privilege. It's very difficult not to notice the insane hierarchies that are built inside of girls groups, women's groups, based on which one of them is more defined as conventionally attractive versus the other one. It's half of the time it's borderline like the fucking army. You have a major, you have a corporal, you have a fucking sergeant, you have and just based on their interactions, you can see just how much, based on, their hotness levels or whatever the fuck, they set each other up in that fucking hierarchy. And then money plays in, and then other stuff play in, etc., etc. It's, there's women do misogyny too.
of it. But there's loads of active misogyny in online spaces framed as edginess or humor that people just accept or think's funny, and it's just a level of acceptance we allow. And it even comes across in like the content you make and who you target and how much you criticize people. Like recently I had some criticism on my video about BreadTube, my second one, because the main focus of the video was ContraPoints and PhilosophyTube, but also included a little bit about Jessie Gender. So that's 3 trans women in a video about Israel and anti-Semitism. And when I'm making that video, of course, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, like this is my video's thesis. These 3 people said the bad things. Better call them out. But I'm not really thinking, oh, it's actually just 3 trans women. It's me as a straight white leftist man calling these people out, and not saying they didn't all deserve the criticism to varying different degrees, but it's a good thing to keep in mind, because then if I go and make another video about that, and another video about that, and another video about that, and I keep making videos about the same 3 people, the same 2 people who happen to be trans women in a leftist space.
Yeah, and then it might look like you're doing it only because they happen to be trans women. That's a good point. At first, I was like, I completely disagree with this, but no, the latter part, yeah, of course.
Then you have to think about like, then
there is an argument to be made on whether when you treat someone very differently because of who they are, it implies that again you think they need to be babied because they are from a minority category that is super disenfranchised. And then for me, it gets extra weird because I'm looking at it from a non-Western perspective, and it's a whole fucking soup, right?
Why are you comfortable to keep milking that? Why are you comfortable to keep making that content? It becomes excessive. And I guess for me, the debate in my head would be like, oh, is it excessive or is it not? In my head, it was a 1 and done initially, then it was a 2 and done, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. But I still understand that criticism of, you know, you are this straight white leftist man in this space and you're going after these 3 liberal and leftist trans women creators, and you haven't really thought about how that might even look. And while I would describe...
Yeah, you need to think about how it looks. If you have a very new audience and they don't know what you're about, then you need to very proactively say, yo, I'm attacking these people based on their hot takes, not because they happen to be trans. But then that also introduces a whole, now I'm really making sure that all of you know that they're trans thing, right? It's... I'm a third world backwards gorilla, okay? Your opinions fucking suck. I will piss on you because your opinions fucking suck. I will honestly and respectfully not spend too much of my time making sure to tell everyone that I'm attacking you because of your opinions and not your other categories. Because I think I've nurtured a chat smart enough to understand why I'm doing what I'm fucking doing. I don't know.
Myself as woke, I have made videos about woke fascism and the dead end of liberal identity politics. I'm not going to not criticize someone because their identity might be marginalized, but I still understand the arguments about this.
We attack ideology, not identity. Absolutely. I don't even fucking attack individuals. I'll non-seldom get criticism of even saying like Jeff Bezos is not necessarily fucking demented and evil. Jeff Bezos is also a product of the environment, which motivates people to become billionaires who happen to become a billionaire by just playing the fucking game and coming from a certain dose of privilege, and is also a product of said system, and said system needs to be criticized instead of us just having pariah enemies that even if we take to the back of the shed and would continue shitting out in other forums, etc., etc. So I always criticize ideology, I always criticize systems, I always criticize the main motivational factors behind why people do certain things, etc., etc. And that both applies to identity, but also applies to individuals. I fucking hate talking about individuals, but it's fun. It's fun. So I do it because it's fun.
And it's just like a process. So I do feel there can be an element on the left that can be a too black and white. Like if someone has made a genuine mistake and they're very sorry and we accept it, I have no reason like moving past that. And there's been plenty of people in this community that have. I think Hassan has made like plenty of mistakes, and he's apologized for a few of them, and you just move on or whatever. I don't think we're expecting anyone to be perfect, but I do think that
if we expect everyone to be perfect, we will not have a movement.
There is a toxic.
When you're I don't know, storming the White House in year 2124 during the Great Socialist Revolution, the guy next to you and the girl next to you and the other half of the people in your fucking detachment, you will probably never choose to be friends with, and will probably disagree with on like 50% of social issues. This is about winning. This is not about being the most right. You know who is about being the most right? The most correct? Liberals. Because they don't believe in material change. They believe in discussions for the sake of discussions. They want civilization to be a constant debate chat on Discord. I think what we lack as a leftist movement is a method of carefully moderated platform for good faith communication and internal stuff. Absolutely. The people in the leadership, though, they don't get to have bad takes. Okay? That's why they're in the fucking leadership. They don't get to have bad behavior and bad takes. The fucking grunt next to you, there's always going to be a bunch of fucking grunts that fucking suck ass. So do you want to win or do you want to be right?
Element, because of parasociality, that just want to forgive people no matter what, especially...
We should aspire to be perfect, not to gatekeep the second someone fucks up. Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you can frame it in a more like, let's say, lefty woke way of you have an addiction...
well, let me take a piss.
You really
Speaking of addiction, I have an addiction to pissing.
Need help. This is what you needed. You're going to go away. You might never come back. You're not going to sue anyone. You're too honourable. But at the same time, I think there's a very much a difference between letting people evolve and move past their past mistakes and rehabilitating terrible people to the point that they can come back and not be accountable for what they've done and continue polluting the space with their content and with their just personality in general, where it isn't a safe space for marginalized groups, women, and just anyone, because you have these people who will exploit their platform and will target people and will hide behind these audiences and hide behind their proximity to like the big content creators, so they won't be held accountable. Now, if I could say a final point about all of this, is that a lot of people do not want to believe the worst when this type of thing happens. Like, you saw so many people defending Low overruled initially, and you saw some of these wild people just like defending him from anything. I will just say to everyone is, content creators, yes, you can appreciate their work. You don't know us. And that goes for everyone. You really don't know us. You don't know what we're like personally. You don't know how we treat people. You don't know how we treat people in our own lives. You don't even know how we treat people online in like private settings and stuff, right? You know nothing about us. So I would say, and this is a good thing to remember for everyone, and this is why I try and not cultivate this in my own community, I would say enjoy people's art, enjoy their content, and maybe you think they're a nice guy or whatever, but do not get that invested in their real lives. And I said multiple times, I don't really care about my audience in that I don't know any of you. You're just a massive hive mob who watch my videos. How I view you watching this video.
No, you are. You are. That's why I do this. I want to define a particular... I want to put all of you in particular categories, okay? That's why we do the hype train battles, okay? So my brain cannot comprehend having 547 friends, which you guys in chat obviously are. So I want to turn you into one person by generalizing you like hell. And that's why we do the hype train battles, right? Yeah, I kid. Do I though? No.
I view you as people who might be receptive to my ideas and you might like them, and I put it out into the world for people to watch and enjoy, criticize, engage with. I don't want you then to come and talk to me trying to be my friend, because I don't want to be your friend. I do not want to be friends with anyone just because you like my videos. And I'm not doing this to create a community. I'm not doing this to create friends.
I am very different. I am doing this to create a community to a very large extent. But not a community that I get to use for shit. But a community like a university as a community, like a the bros and ladies that you go to the pub with on a fucking random Saturday evening type of thing, which I'm doing right now. I'm at a pub with you guys, and we're talking about interesting fucking politics, right? Will you ever know the intricate caveats of my personal life? Probably not. Will I ever know that about you guys either? No. We are experiencing the internet for the first time in the history of humanity. And what we make of our relationship right here, right now, is what we make of it. There is no pattern to follow. There is no historic example to interpret. This is us completely. And how much of that impacts you negatively or me or vice versa, that's on you and on me. But we're building our own thing, okay? So to me, you absolutely are a community, and you absolutely can become a friend. A digital friend, which is very different, but still a friend. So I don't think that's problematic. It's problematic if then I send you a picture of my dick. Okay? That's the problematic part. Not us hanging out and sharing fucking, personal stuff, etc., etc. It's problematic if I do something fucked up and you immediately jump out and start protecting me just because we used to hang out. That's problematic. But us hanging out and getting to know each other, that's not fucking, that I don't see that as problematic. I genuinely don't. I genuinely absolutely do not. So yes, the context of our relationship is something that has never been experienced before in the history of humanity. So it will be what we make it. Understudy? Understudy. Jebem ti road u pičku materinu. Oh, this fucking thing doesn't want to work. That was a perfect moment for a soundbite, but this fucking shit, okay, a button fell out, does not want to work. It does not want to work.
I obviously appreciate everyone who supports my work. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this video. Support me on Patreon, support me on YouTube memberships, and just support my work generally. And I'm hoping you support my work because you like my work, not you like me, because you don't know.
We shouldn't expect everyone to be perfect, but we shouldn't allow actual bad things, even if it's just words, to let it slide. That's why Mike from PA and other white leftist creators are being called out. They certainly shouldn't be canceled or have all their organizing work dismissed, but when they make a mistake, then we should say they made a mistake and correct them for it. And certain people, absolutely, when they've made a mistake, they should correct themselves for it as well. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, especially when it comes to people with large platforms and that are saying, my voice is one that will educate you on what to think about particular things. From that perspective, absolutely. But for everyday members of the movement, etc., expecting all of them to be perfect is never going to happen. Though that does not mean that everyone shouldn't actively work towards helping them reach some more complex, advanced, and informed analyses and opinions. So yeah, I agree. But we got to remind ourselves also that we very often might not have the best of takes either, and that we should also be open to criticism and to learning more from our past mistakes based on, whether the argument in front of us is in good faith, number one, and number two, whether the argument in front of us makes any fucking sense.
Me, and you don't know me really. You know the Tabernacle as a content producer and as a character on the internet. You don't know anything about me, and that goes for all your favorite creators. So there shouldn't be some reaction.
It's unironically a little bit different with streamers. I have a successful YouTube channel. I have a fucking podcast. We run another show, First Thought. Twitch is different. On Twitch, you can do a character for a while. You can do a character for a very long while. But at one point, people are not stupid. People fucking smell who you really are. People fucking smell who you are. Nobody's fucking Sherlock Holmes up in here fucking doing 5 million IQ shit. People will figure you out.
to defend or giving someone the benefit of the doubt automatically because you think you know them. You don't. We are not people in your real lives. Like, if Low Overruled was like your brother or your son or whatever, we're having a very different conversation, but he's not. He's a content creator you liked, and he's done this to other people in this space who are both content creators and random people as well. So if you care about the space and you care about the left online in general and not just one person, then your solidarity should be to the people coming out against these people, not reactively defending your favorite content creator because you think you're friends with them. Because that friendship is one way, they know it, and people like Low Overruled, they cultivated that to protect them and for their own ego. So I would say...
And one would argue they made, they created the whole thing with fame in mind as... the primary directive and motivator, not the cause. I'm gonna let my weeb hang out, but the most obvious case of this is VTubers. Most start out playing a character, but all of them end up settling into a kind of normalcy. Yeah, you can't pretend for this long. You cannot pretend for this long. Even there you go. Today's stream is what, 3 hours and 3 minutes long, dude. You cannot pretend for more than 2-3 hours. It's impossible. It's absolutely fucking impossible.
To everyone, be really wary of people who cultivate the parasociality, are so engaged in like private Discord communities, are so engaged in private groups with all their audiences, and are really encouraging this because...
Yeah, my Discord fucking hates me. Whenever I show up in my Discord, I'm like, yo, what's up? I get like 20 replies of people like, oh, you're alive? Oh, you actually come to your own Discord, you fucking freak. But I don't think this is a good thing. Like, I should interact more with my Discord. I lurk more. I oversee everything. I am the overseer of Vault 100, also known as... You got next bar Discord.
If they're doing this, I don't think they fundamentally care about the content they put out, and I don't think they care about leftist politics primarily. They might care about it. They care more about their own ego, wealth, and fame than they do about anything else. So be skeptical of these people. I'm not saying they're all sex pests and terrible, but be skeptical because there is a motivating factor there which you might not consider, and that is power. And sadly, it appears to be a pattern that when straight men in this space acquire that power, they decide to abuse it, and usually abuse it by targeting people for sexual gratification. So that is it for the video, just my rambling thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you made it this far, thank you for watching.
Very nice. Yeah, mostly agree, as always with Cavernacle. The only thing we might miss each other's points on is building up a community. I think you absolutely can, and I don't think that building up a community online is necessarily a bad thing in and of itself. It can become a bad thing based on what you use it for. That's it. So it's a tool to make people find the community, to connect people, to educate people, to have fun with people, but just as every tool, it can be used for some bad shit. Just the way my ad pitches can be used for some bad shit. So like advertising, obviously bad, right? But then I manipulate that very obvious fact by saying, avoid the ad that's going to play exactly 1 minute, join the great Jihad, destroy all advertising, support the show for $6 a month, help us reach the daily sub goal, or oil me up and you will have defeated all ads, right? So now I'm doing a bad thing. Saying that ads are bad is normal. Saying ads are bad as a mechanism for me to grift is not that good. Will I still do it? Absolutely 100% of the time. Should you still subscribe and avoid the ad? 100% of the time. Am I lying secretly because I don't even play ads on the show? Yes, I also am. Which should then motivate you even more to subscribe and avoid the ads. Okay? Just for the sake of seeing the daily sub goal get more and more red, fill up that loading screen, that nice loading screen, right? What I'm trying to say is that there is nothing more fluid than good and bad. Nothing. And yet we lie to ourselves that we organize society based on it. Yet 300 years ago, what was bad what was good would now land you in prison for life. So work on that moral compass. Don't take it for granted. And subscribe. Thank you, Toasty Android, motherfucker. Thank you very much.
You guys might know my arch nemesis, Drew Pavlu. My arch nemesis, Drew Pavlu. Me and him, we're said to be like Tom and Jerry. Now,
no, I don't give a shit about Drew Pavlu, who added this to this fucking thing. But I do have an empanada video. Where was the empanada video? Oh, this.
Should I talk about?
I saw the first 2 minutes. Empanada trying to be like anti-nerd squad. Anti-nerd squad being like, sci-fi, fucking cringe. I love you, man. I love you. I love how hard you try here, especially.
But superhero television shows, Marvel, Star Wars. That's by Marvel, isn't it? They have, what do they call? Light swords, and there's Dark Vader. So
there you go. He's like, oh, I'm a cool guy. Light swords? Oh my god, yeah, this is so good. Like, yeah.
Name because he's dark, and Luke Starwalker. Something like that. Okay, here is my opinion on the Andor television show. Star Wars is too childish for this sort of media. The setting drags it down, but also the real life setting drags down this sort of media as well. Star Wars is for children, the setting is for children. It's so basic and simple that it drags everything down. But also there is an advantage to it in the fact that you can make like this sort of, well, I guess the first season wasn't like a spy sort of thing. It was more like, you know, this one person's path to becoming a rebel sort of thing. But the second season...
But it was a spy thing. He becomes a spy. That it's his path towards becoming a spy.
Is very much like a Bourne Identity sort of series, where it is basically just like a spy thriller from beginning to end, and that's where you really start to see the cracks in the Star Wars setting. However, it also has huge advantages.
But okay, yeah, I agree. You see the cracks in the typical Star Wars setting, but the Star Wars setting is whatever you do with the Star Wars setting, and they use this particular setting in order to tell a very progressive, very chill, pro-leftist terrorism argument. I mean, literally, all of Andor is kill motherfuckers that you disagree with and that are fascists. Just blow them up. Like that. That's pretty much most of Andor.
Because disconnecting this sort of spy thriller.
But then at one moment, calm down and join the proper movement, etc., etc. Even though they do very good commentary, in like the proper movement would not have existed without the most radical of radicals doing some crazy unhinged shit.
From the real world. Also, let them do things with it and let them like believably frame the protagonists as actual like not bad people. Whereas in real life, when they make these sorts of spy thrillers,
because that was my biggest like fear watching the second season of Andor, is that they're going to do the but at what cost shit towards the end. That they were gonna both like the main master of the spy ring, the main guy who pretty much helped start the rebellion and so on, and Andor is one of his multiple henchmen. That towards the end of the season they would be like, we became the same as the people we were fighting by utilizing these incredibly violent means against them. But the show doesn't do that. The show doesn't do that. Hell, it says that these guerrilla movements, these spy cells that were developed by this guy, are what allowed for the wider revolutionary movement to form in the coming years. So it's really good. It doesn't clutch any fucking pearls. It very openly says, you see fascists, you drive a fucking ship into their house. You know?
You always have to be like a British or an American intelligence agent who always has to be somehow in the right. You know, if you think about like James Bond is ruined by the constraints of the audience.
I watched this yesterday. One of the worst movies I've ever watched. Just holy shit. Just holy shit. Mother of all CIA propaganda, but not even done right.
That it's made for, and also by the imperialistic motivations of its creators, because
CIA be like, hey nerds, there's a place for you in our organization too, and if And if they find and kill your wife, you can take revenge using the CIA skills that you've garnered. And the CIA will turn out to be corrupt, but don't worry. There's mechanisms inside of the CIA to make sure that the CIA stops being corrupt. So if you think that the CIA is corrupt, join the CIA because you will help change it from within. That's the whole movie. And Rami Malek sucks so much in it. Rami Malek has spent too much time on Mr. Robot or whatever that fucking show was called that he forgot how to act. He's just doing that character on repeat. I will die on the Rami Malek hate train for the rest of my life. No. That man acted one character well, and now he's just repeating that character for the rest of his life.
James Bond is like generic, old style British imperialism. Imperialism is good and based and sexy, and the enemies are always like the other, the generic other of the imperialists. And then you get to like the more sophisticated, more modern spy thrillers like the Bourne movies, which is like more self-conscious American imperialism, but with women pilots every now and again, that sort of thing. And the protagonist is like tortured by the things that he has to do. But ultimately, the US and the Western imperialist states are sort of framed as like wanting to do good, but having like benign and corrupting forces within them that...
Yeah, and in the amateur, it's like, oh, you can fix it from the inside. I know you have some questions about how the CIA works, and you might not consider them to be the most ethical organization based on what they've done throughout the century, throughout the decades. But if you join, you might be the one who becomes the new director and changes everything.
Do bad things that the protagonist like sort of has to struggle against. It's like more self-conscious, like sort of post 9/11, post Iraq War, post Afghan invasion sort of spy thriller. Like the Bourne movies, especially, are actually very good movies, especially like the action sequences and stuff. But they are incredibly dragged down by the.
Okay, I think we found the first time. The first thing that I disagree with Mr. Empanado on. The Bourne movies are fucking trash. They are, what if we made James Bond an American man and then he has fucking amnesia? No. The Bourne, oh my God. Empanado, what the no, they're very bad.
The fact that you cannot make a believable movie where the Americans are the good guys ever. It doesn't work.
That I agree with, of course.
Unless you're just an indoctrinated American imperialist dumbass. So Andor sort of takes like the skill of the director of the Bourne movies, the creator of the Bourne movies, and gives him like a blank slate to work with where that sort of baggage is all gone. And he does a very good job of it. Like, it's very good, and the only bad part about it is that it's still Star Wars. So you remove the baggage of spy thrillers being tied to real world.
Yeah, but that's what allows you to do real world commentary without, losing a lot of money, because ain't nobody watching a show about, I don't fucking know, somebody from the imperialized world rising up and then eventually contributing to a paramilitary movement that blows up half of New York.
Having to frame like the Western countries as the good guys in some way, in some roundabout way every time. But you also introduce like the Star Wars setting, which is incredibly simplistic if you think about it for 2 seconds. The bad guys is like the most stereotypically like cartoonish fascistic empire in the entire universe, when in the real world now, the analogs of the real world today, imperialism is a lot more complex than that and sold in much different ways than the like over Nazi style imperialism of like the Empire and Star Wars. The rebellion is also incredibly unbelievable and stupid, even though he did as good of a job of it as he could have given the source material. Because
yeah, and you gotta fucking fit that in a single season.
A bunch of like a ragtag group of like liberals and like supposedly terroristic extremists. But all they're fighting for is the restoration of, in of itself, an incredibly problematic liberal democracy. That's all they're fighting for. They all want to bring back like the Republic, which was a representative democracy, like a generic liberal style representative democracy, which like famously collapsed because it like fought against a like separatists who they were trying to prevent from separating from their liberal democracy. Now, obviously, I know that the separatists were sort of, manipulated behind the scenes by the evil Sith man with his mind control powers, but Still, that's the root of the conflict here. So it's like a decaying liberal democracy turns into a Nazi state. And also the passage of time here, by the way, is fucking ludicrous. Like, I didn't know this beforehand because I was like, okay, when does this take place? How long has this all been going on for? The Empire lasted 20 years.
Exactly. This is so fun. Yeah, I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate that so much. The Empire lasted for a split second of a split second of a split second of a split second as compared to just how long the Starverse universe was going on for. Like that is so what do you call it? Being involvement shattering, completely involvement shattering.
The Empire in Star Wars lasted 20 fucking years. Actually, no, I think it's 13 years. I think I might actually be overestimating that too. I don't remember exactly, but it's totally unbelievable. They set up this vast, sprawling fascist empire. They reformed everything to be fascist all across the galaxy in 20 years? No, I'm sorry. There's no fucking way. He did a good job with what is his name? Tony Gilroy. He did a great job with what they gave him. I'm just saying he's really held back by this totally unbelievable setting that is incredibly simplistic, way too simplistic for the story that I feel like he wanted to tell. It's still a very good show. Like, it's easily the best. Like, the second season is the best spy series or movie I've watched in an extremely long time, easily. The first season is good as well, but I feel like the second season really played to the strengths of the director. But what it is really good at doing is sort of humanizing, like, resistance, like showing
exactly, and humanizing violence, humanizing unapologetic violence as a means to resist. That is the most radical aspect of Andor. And it, again, to repeat myself, it doesn't, towards the end of the show, just say stupid shit like, maybe we shouldn't have done it this way because we have become the same as our enemy. It didn't turn Andor and, his handler and so on into the new bad guy for the second season or something. No, they fucking stood tall and proud, and they followed through on their logic and on their ideology. So I really respect it for that.
Yeah, that these people do things that are actually pretty objectively morally wrong, but that are strategically correct for a greater good, very often. And it doesn't judge them for it, doesn't want you to judge them for it. If anything, it wants you to judge them positively for it. And that is like the main good thing about it, like the main actual message take away from it, because the actual fight against the evil empire is extremely simplistic, though it's not the fault of the creators that it's just the fault of the Star Wars setting. Like there's going to be spoilers in here, obviously. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean here. There's one part where the main spy master guy, by the way, this is another thing that just is totally unrealistic as well, that the rebellion is basically funded and then carried out by a total of two people. There's two people who really are behind the scenes who make everything happen. And this, it's not how things work or ever going to work in real life. So you have the main spy master guy who's this incredible, all-powerful, all-knowing, totally unrealistic character who controls most of the most important rebellion activities from behind the scenes. And there is a point.
No, okay, but I think I missed it. He to an extent loses control of the rebellion in the later part of the second season because the rebellion gets too big for him to control, and it's basically spawns on the other side of the galaxy and develops without any of his own input. So that, I think, was genuinely realistic. Additionally, what was really good writing when it comes to developing him is that they very openly address the elephant in the room. This man has sold his soul for the cause. He has abandoned any ethical or moral compass because he understands that his feelings and his view of what is righteous or not matters very little in comparison to what the cause wants to achieve. And in that very particular monologue, that very famous monologue when he's talking to the Empire spy, the Empire mole, the Empire, snitch, he very openly says, what, you think I think I'm a good guy? You think I think that everything I'm doing is fucking moral? No. But fuck your morals. Fuck your ethics. Fuck
wonderful. A new
LARPing.
Subscriber.
When everything around us is crumbling. That was so good. Thank you very much, Totalitarian. Literally one of the fucking OGs. All hell the king. No, all hell you. Fucking 19 months is absolutely unhinged. Thank you. A greater moral. That is a very good way of putting it. A communal moral. A much more complex understanding of what is right and what is not. What was his name? Luthen Real. This is why this scene is why I constantly talk to you guys about not hyper focusing on ethics and morals as people. Not because they're not important, but because the current version of your ethics and your morals are informed by faulty data, by your lived experience. And they can and should be updated. But yeah, this scene.
And what do you sacrifice?
Calm. Kindness, kinship. Love. I've given up all chance at inner peace. I made my mind a sunless space. I share my dreams with ghosts. I wake up every day to an equation I wrote 15 years ago from which there's only one conclusion. I'm damned for what I do. My anger, my ego, my unwillingness to yield, my eagerness to fight, they set me on a path from which there's no escape. I yearn to be a savior against injustice without contemplating the cost, and by the time I look down, there was no longer any ground beneath my feet. What is my sacrifice? I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them. I burn my decency for someone else's future. I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. Now, the ego that started this fight will never have a mirror or an audience or the light of gratitude. So what do I sacrifice? Everything!
Where, like,
words like that you don't follow. You'll let them speak for themselves.
His main source in the Empire Intelligence Bureau comes in with like this total bombshell, and this guy, he wants like safe passage. He wants safe passage for his family because the Empire are onto him and they're going to kill him or whatever. And Luthen, who's the name of the spy master guy, he can easily do that for him. He can easily get him out. There's probably some risk to it, but this guy easily has the capacity to do that. But he just kills him instead. He just kills him immediately on the spot. And that's the morally incorrect thing to do because this guy had done so much for them. Without him, they would have been fucked. This one source, they would have been fucked. It's incredibly morally wrong for him to kill that guy, but strategically it's the best thing for him to do. Because that's the only way that he can be sure that this guy will not be intercepted and won't be interrogated. And won't...
An additional good part of the writing is it openly, like, it does criticism of a revolutionary movement, but in a very legitimate way. Something that we have seen in revolutionary movements of the past and that we should not shy away from commenting on and not shy away from understanding that it will happen again because it is another reinterpretation of hierarchical infighting. What am I talking about? This man was a spark that started the entire revolution, one could argue. And then the revolution got out of his quote-unquote hands and became its own thing. And some of his followers, when interacting with the new executive branch, the new executive body of the revolution on that planet, blah, 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 that sit and, do their congress, etc., whenever they mention him, what is their reaction? It is one of dismissal because they are afraid of his power. They are afraid of their own positions in compared to what he can offer as one of the OGs of the OGs. They do not reject everything he has done. They do not call him a traitor or whatever the fuck, but they very openly fight for their own position versus him being included in the greater revolutionary movement that was spawned from his spark. And that is normal, and that has happened in the Soviet Revolution, in the Maoist Revolution, in every single one under the fucking sun. And it is fucking problematic, and it is to an extent unavoidable. Internal fights over power squabbles, etc., etc. But this show brings up, for example, that contradiction, not as a means of being like, ha ha, look at all of them, the revolution eats their own children type of fucking bullshit. It just says, there you go, this is a real contradiction. And leaves no moral judgment to it. It just presents characters acting on their material interests. It's great. It's really good. It shows that the person writing it gets it. Because what is an act of greater love than criticism well directed? What is an act of showing that you really understand the source material than being able to target and pinpoint issues of, in this case, revolutions, without dissuading the audience from believing in revolutions in general? It's impressive. It's truly impressive.
Give up everything. It's the safest thing for him to do for like the greater good was just to kill him on the spot, and he did it. And this is the sort of thing.
I'm more concerned about Mon's outfit and the music in the wedding rave scene. There you go. There's two types of communists. The internal commentary on revolutionary... You go, fucking nerding out like a motherfucking cunt here. And then Fresh Bison, one of the OGs, of course. What about the outfits? The outfits were kind of L and cringe. Legend. Impressive, most impressive. Darth Vader or Hugh Gopnik, you decide. I also have to say that we cannot overly rely on pure pragmatism because that just isolates people from the movement. It's a difficult calculation. That is why smarter people than us need to make that calculation. I agree.
That rebellions do all the time. Like, think about like Hamas in Gaza killing Israeli informants, something that the international media always frames as terrible and wrong. And it's like, is it perhaps morally weird? I mean, maybe, but what the fuck else are they supposed to do? And that's a less ambiguous situation than the one in Andor that I was talking about, because that guy, he hadn't even been exposed as a source yet. I mean, they were onto him, but he could have reasonably gotten him out. He probably had a very high chance of being able to get him out. He didn't even try though. He just killed him because he had no loyalty to the people. He had loyalty to the cause. And he said, to the Luthen guy, that sort of thing was what had to be done for the greater good. And there's these sorts of moments all the time in the show where people do shitty things that like are perhaps a violation of someone's individual rights, but that are totally understandable from the standpoint of, is this the right thing to do if we are going to actually...
And the show doesn't handhold, it doesn't come in simply saying what? This is bad. It doesn't say this is good either, which I agree with greatly. It does not hold your hands. To an extent similar to Parasite, for example. In Parasite, you have all these individual characters experiencing very different material conditions, which then informs their behavior. And then towards the culmination of the movie, you have an explosion of unadulterated, insane violence. And a very open-ended ending. It questions and lets you answer, which is far more sophisticated than giving you the answer itself, because it is very, very painfully difficult to actually question without inserting your own personal opinion into the piece. It's not being a centrist. It is impossible to be a centrist in especially narrative art. But it is presenting the situation as is, objectively. I honestly kind of disagree. Smarter people than us should make the decision, but often there is no one smarter in the position to do so. True. Sometimes we got to take that mantle on for ourselves. But that's, yeah.
Succeed here and get rid of this fascist empire. So that is like one of the main strengths of Andor, in that it constantly has these sorts of moments, and it shows you like how and why people might be
presenting revolutionary struggles as simply violence as a counter-revolutionary framing. It absolutely is. I do not think this show does so. The show presents the intelligence apparatus's role in revolution. That is what the show is about. The show is about what revolutionary spies do for the cause. Not just spies, but assassins and sometimes terrorists. I mean, let's call it what it is. And it focuses on that. It doesn't say that all of the revolution is that. Hell, it takes a very big chunk of the second season and shows the other aspect of the revolution. The guys doing the logistics, the guys making the fucking ships, the guys in different branches of both grunt work and the different executive bodies of the different branches of the rebellion, etc., etc. It shows everything.
Pushed to rebel or to resist. However, those parts are slightly dragged down by the fact that the Empire is so just cartoonishly and obviously evil that it fails to communicate the nuances of actually existing real-world imperialism today properly, which, you know, as I've been saying, isn't the fault of the director. Because obviously, resistance against the fucking Empire is obviously justified. But resistance against the, United States of America is obviously justified in real life as well. And yet in real life, the United States of America is not quite as obvious with its imperialism as the Empire is. And they did try to introduce elements of this to the show, like the propaganda and stuff. Sounds very much like real world propaganda. But then you also have to think, this Empire is all controlled.
There was also like with, the last season was absolutely horrible. But in Man in the High Castle, you have a scene it probably doesn't exist on YouTube because nobody probably got hyped with it. Yeah, it doesn't really exist. But in the Men in the High Castle, you have a particular scene towards the end where the rebellion on the Japanese-controlled part of the what was previously known as the United States gets overtaken, right? And keep in mind, the war started in 1939 at the peak of what can very objectively be called American apartheid against black Americans. And they overtake some big compound. I might be misconstruing some of the events, some of the scenes, but basically they win the battle or whatever the fuck, and they're walking into the place, and they're stripping off the Imperial Japan flags, etc., etc. And the main guerrillas that are leading it are pretty. Black Panthers inspired, blah, blah, blah. And one of the soldiers, when they're taking down the Nazi flag from the main building, whips out the American flag, the U.S. flag, in order to go put it on there. And I genuinely couldn't believe my eyes in the writing, because one of the leader ladies just goes and grabs it from him and says, no, we're building something different. We're not just going back to the way things were. That was... holy mother of good writing, what the fuck? Did not see that coming. because a very big part of the rest of the show is very much like, let's go back to America, you know. America was not perfect, but at least it wasn't Nazi Germany. But then the show has the audacity to say, for black people, it was Nazi Germany. The fuck? For African Americans, it absolutely was. We ain't going back to that shit. And that's how, you know, the black characters in the show react, which was, you know, they didn't live out right at the last second. It was cool. A Man in the High Castle, the show. But other than that, holy mother of horrible last season. Holy mother of horrible last season.
Why would they like there's one moment where they massacre a bunch of people in a plaza and they bait them into it when they have like false flag snipers shooting their own soldiers to try and blame them on those people. And it's like, this would not happen in this world. It would happen in the real world, sure. Like the US would do this for sure. Or like, you know, the Egyptian government did stuff like this like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Stuff like that. But in world, this is unbelievable. It's totally unbelievable that the Empire would have to do a false flag. All they would do is they would shoot those people, kill them, and then they would just lie about it. They wouldn't need to do a false flag for that to justify the genocide. There's also another totally unbelievable character, Mon Mothma, who is like an imperial senator who's also secretly funding like the spy master guy behind the scenes. And no one like this exists, okay? No one like this exists. Anyone like her would have been subsumed by the system long before she got to this point. She's like supposed to be like...
This is a decent take.
Yeah, an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez type person, except in real life, people like her do not fund rebellions. They work to stifle them and to lead people away from them. So I just wanted to mention that because I found that a completely unbelievable character. I also saw some people like comparing that character like Nancy Pelosi, like she's supposed to be like a liberal reformist type character, but she's not. I mean, she funds a fucking rebellion. She funds a rebellion with her personal wealth, her family's wealth behind the scenes. The point that I want to make is that in the real world, no fucking senator for an empire is doing that, okay? Never in history has anything like that happened. So no, just a totally unrealistic character and a very contradictory character.
I mean, to an extent, we've had a lot of bourgeois class traders that did join the cause. But bourgeois class traders that were, you know, a part of the political executive body and also were like rich, not just rich. Yeah, not very often.
Character as well, because she's presented as like this sort of liberal, like
Engels to some degree. Engels was, you know, if we're comparing, if we are contextualizing Engels' political and financial power at the time to that of Mothma, Engels is like a 0.1%. And again, if we're contextualizing it, if they lived in the same country.
Really Democratic Party sort of character, really disconnected from the rebellion, who is really against like using violence except when it's necessary. And then, but she's also like funding the whole rebellion behind the scenes, and it's basically because of her that it can succeed, and it's just totally unrealistic and bullshit. And don't even get me started in the way that they present the characters who actually do like use violence often, like Saw Gerrera. He's presented like as a fucking crazy guy, and obviously from the name you can tell he's inspired by Che Guevara. Like they intentionally wrote the liberal senator as the rational one, and the actual like guy who's been resisting the whole time via violent means as a crazed terrorist. So that's a very intentional choice.
I never felt like they depicted him as a crazed terrorist, though. They just depicted him as the radical arm of the movement. The problematic part there is that the movement itself does not fully utilize the most radical units that they have, which are under this guy, because they would. Because they absolutely would.
I don't know if these characters were set in stone before Andor got to them, though. I don't know if I don't care to look either. But it's, you know, there's clearly a choice there. The
context he's missing here is that Mon Mothma is the AOC of Star Wars and literally wants to go back to representative democracy so that she could become the next leader of the Republic. She is completely self-interested in funding the rebellion. That is such a great analysis. That is so smart. That is so fucking intelligent. I didn't see that. That is so fucking good. Bruh, hats off. Mask off. FMLA socialist, impressive. Impressive take. Very alternative, but very good. Good pitch.
To frame like the more reformist.
Very smart. Sorry, I'm rarely surprised. That's fucking smart as shit. That is smart as shit.
So not really character is the rational one, and the more like radical character is a crazed drug addict. So yeah, that is my take on the television show Andor. I think it's good. I think it would have been better if it was set in a sci-fi setting like that, wasn't burdened by real-world politics, but that wasn't Star Wars. I think it would have been better with a blank slate to work with. It's dragged down by the simplicity.
Cheese Parmesan over mozzarella. Legendary, I can stop whenever. This verse is so hot, 97 Rockefeller. Hands work, I drop a fella, but keep it cool though. Smile on my face, cause it's too low. Too low, too low, too low, too low.
That's chunky, smell funky, pockets lumpy in this bitch. You let that nigga Terry bone? I look better than that nigga. You ain't even scope it, but put something on it. Bagging up and I ain't even need to know the gross. High key, I don't think Moses parted the sea. Ain't no funny shit for real, I think my nigga can see. Stevie Wonder hands free, another oil grape seed. Grab bull season and pour it out the pot, let's eat. Hey, you gotta focus on it, smoke it or you snort it. Sort it into portions, but
to finish off, there's apparently some crazy fucking shit happening in Sri Lanka connected to the Tamil genocide that we've often talked on the show about, together with dear friend of the show, Aaron, who I'm going to send all of you guys towards the end of the stream to properly get informed on the topic. But we wanna throw a little bit of our platform on some of this shit that is fucking insane, that is not covered at all, like at fucking all. This has 47 views, which is beyond absurd. Protests in Colombo urging independent investigation into mass graves in Sri Lanka, including in Chamani. Just so that you guys have eyes on this and that you can share with your friends and communities and so on. Just let it play. Police blocks activists protesting in Colombo, urging independent investigations into mass graves in Sri Lanka, including the recently discovered mass burial site that has yielded 65 fucking bodies, dude. 65 fucking bodies, including kids. This is not the most recent news. The most recent body count is 122. This is being covered by my ass. Literally, nobody. So now obviously shit is stirring up because whenever you reveal a mass grave, it takes everybody back to the events which caused the mass graves being mass graves, if you know what I mean. Not surprising they killed tens of thousands when they did the final offensive and nobody internationally cared. Yeah, whenever it's morally convenient to close your eyes, the so-called morally superior international community does not give a flying fuck. That's why I wanted to contextualize why I'm sending you over to my boy Aaron as I finish today's stream. Thank you very much to everybody who followed. Thank you to everybody who subscribed, especially to those who subscribed. Motherfucking shit like this would not be possible anywhere on planet Earth. What shit am I talking about? Me being me. Okay? Me doing this without beautiful, brilliant people like yourselves, especially the subscribers. Follow me on the socials. Join me over on Discord. Join me in looking at your post. And I will be seeing you soon, most likely tomorrow. Tomorrow, God bless. God bless. God bless. 1945. Our chat number is literally beginning, the ending, close to the ending at least, of World War II. With that being said, I am sending you over to Aaron now, who will guide you a lot better on these issues than I will. Keep your eyes on Sri Lanka, on the Tamil genocide, and so on. Keep your eyes on your fellow leftists, especially when they are freaky as shit. Okay? Especially when they're freaky as shit. But not in a good way. You can be fun freaky. Don't be strange freaky, okay? Don't be pervert freaky. And I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you guys are all okay. I hope you guys enjoy this. I enjoy this. This was a casual Saturday. I really enjoy casual Saturdays because they are completely unplanned. We just do what the fuck we want to do. Right? Okay. Thank you, Hugo Man. Love from Greece. Oh, kalimera kalispera. Enjoy, guys. Love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.